Morning, IJTV. We're at the rally for calling for Chief Smith's resignation.
If you are 4.5 times higher than the national average, that's the culture that you have of hanging and killing black bodies. That is the culture of this department. The culture of this department is formed by
Red Lemon and Chief Smith.
So until we get something to change the culture of the negative aspect of hanging, and we might not have had anybody hanging from a tree, but they changed that because now you hang them by bullets. So if we don't change the culture of hanging brown bodies by a gun, then we're going to continue to be at 4.5 times higher than the national average. And I know that they've already had the meeting. You know, after the large protests that were happening down in the plaza, they had a private meeting to where they could discuss personnel issues. That personnel issue was Chief Smith. And the 5 police commissioners that none of you voted in said, let's let him keep his job. Let's give him a chance. Was Donnie Sanders given a chance?
No.
Was Terrence Bridges given a chance?
No.
Does anybody know the story about what happened with Terrence Bridges? And I'm going to admit that domestic violence happens a lot here within the city. That's a mental health issue. After he had had his altercation with his girlfriend, he left to go cool down. He left to keep it from being a volatile situation. But she did call the police. When the police arrived, he was not there. The police were up on the patio talking to the girlfriend. She pointed him out. He started walking away without even being given a chance, and this is all caught on their cameras. This is all caught on their police cams that they have. Terrence Bridges was shot down in the street with not an effort of trying to de-escalate the situation. I have officers who I have the phone numbers of. I've called to question them since we started with all this outbreak of protests in the city. What is your training model in regards to training the officers for continuous education?
Shoot to kill.
24 hours a year. And that's not just with the de-escalation training. That includes their shooting training. So if you're not giving enough effort to think that the mental health of these officers on these streets, because I will give you that in Kansas City with the homicide rate that we have, I would think any officer would need some counseling from seeing that much violence. But if we can't stop the perpetuator of the violence of the police to brown victims, then it's going to be hard for us to change the culture within our minds to value ourselves even. So it has to start somewhere. We hear trickle down on everything else. We hear trickle down on economics. We hear trickle down on housing. We hear trickle down on everything. Right now we're still in the midst of protesting based on the redlining. I myself actually met with the police commissioner that we really need to change her heart. Right now we know that Kathy Dean, there's my announcement. Kathy Dean is our swing vote. Kathy Dean is who we need. There's already 2 commissioners that feel that they know he is not right for Kansas City. But until we change the culture, we cannot change the trend. Until we change the culture of oppression, we cannot be free. So we will continue as black people to be scared just because a police officer pulls up behind us, because we know that they're still under the leadership of Chief Smith. So what do we need to do? Fire Chief Smith. Fire Chief Smith. Fire Chief Smith. Yolanda, are you ready to talk now? Okay. Am I putting you on the spot? No. Or if you're not ready, I can divert. Okay. I'll let you handle it. You want me to divert right now? Right now. I'm sorry, y'all. But if we could all just give virtual hugs. Let me let her introduce herself and who she is. Just one moment.
Sanders, I'm the sister of Donnie Sanders, who was also murdered by KCPD.
Gabriel?
March the 13th.
Yeah, so you taking his Facebook?
Yeah, he was killed
Yeah,
March the 13th.
IJTV.
Over
On
at,
Facebook?
56
Yeah.
Boulevard
Go there and share the link out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what we do.
And apparently
Yeah, I'm here
Donnie
the
got out
whole time, so
and
I'll be live.
and put his arm
So
up.
IJTV, if you want to go, share it out.
Shot and killed him.
Let me give a little bit more before
Okay.
you don't feel comfortable, because I'm gonna give it loud.
Because you know I get a
I'm
little
gonna give it
sensitive,
loud.
so that's right.
I'm
Go
gonna give it
ahead.
loud. So Donnie had hernia issues. So hernia issues means that it impacts the entire center core of your body. Are you gonna fight someone if you just had surgery? Was it 3 days before that happened? 1 day. Oh, my bad. I thought it was 3. So 1 day before Donnie was killed, he had just had hernia surgery. How much of a threat could he have been?
Unarmed.
And he was unarmed. How much of a threat could he have been? See, one of the things that where de-escalation as well as sensitivity training would bring is an understanding that automatically, and I'm not trying to down talk my own race, but automatically black people are scared to death when the police pull us over. We are already persecuted on making sure we have every I dotted and every T crossed. The NAACP has already put a travel ban on the state of Missouri because of the percentages of us being profiled and pulled over. So we are already scared when we get pulled over.
That ain't right.
We don't commit cop by suicide. We don't commit suicide by cop. Excuse me, y'all knew what I meant. We don't commit suicide by cop. Ain't no black police kill no white man. I'm hearing this from the bus stop. Come join us. Come join us. But that's what we have to do. We have to change the culture. Until we change the culture, we are going to continue to be scared every time we're stopped. And it's because we know that our percentages are higher that we are going to die. I shouldn't have to die just because I ran a red light. That's what happened to Cameron. I shouldn't have to die just because I drove 90 miles an hour in the street. I don't know. They don't actually have it accurate. It's based on what the helicopter said.
Why is there a helicopter?
Police profiling.
And Yolanda just stated her brother should not have had to die because he raised his arm. So you need to have some sensitivity training that we by nature are loud. We're demonstrative. But that does not mean that we should die. Go ahead, babe.
Can everyone hear her?
There was an interesting meme that I shared the other day. It might have been a week or so ago. Surprise! Officers aren't supposed to shoot guilty people either. Not to kill. They're only supposed to shoot if they really feel that their life was in jeopardy. But if a man that had surgery the day before you pulled him over without a gun is threatening you, then you have the wrong job. So right now, I know Kathy's heartstrings are feeling like she doesn't want to fire somebody. She just thinks we should still give him a chance. But I have from 2 different sources that I trust both of them dearly, that after the mayor gave the directive that the police can't investigate their own shootings anymore, and we had that homicide by cop on June 13th, do you know that the chief actually fought with the prosecuting attorney about bringing the highway patrol in? I have that from 2 different people. 2 different people have advised me that even after he was given a directive to do different, he still wanted to do his same old thing. So that's why Chief Smith is not right for us, because we have to change the culture. And you cannot change the culture of an organization if you do not change the person that controls it. Chief Smith controls the culture. Chief Smith gotta go. Chief Smith gotta go. Chief Smith gotta go. I can't keep talking, y'all. Y'all gotta chat with me until somebody's ready to come take this mic. Chief Smith gotta go.
Chief Smith got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
Chief
Smith,
Smith,
go, go, hey, hey, ho, ho.
Chief Rick Smith got to go.
Why are y'all scared of the mic? You still held
We're the ones that do this every Friday.
Hey everybody, I'm
Every
Matthew,
Friday.
and
Every Friday
on
group.
Facebook you might see me as MCM John Brown. I am really proud to be here with you all. I appreciate Sheryl, I appreciate this group, I appreciate all the white folks I've met in this city. We have a problem in Kansas City. This city was founded, the houses here were built with plantation money. The banking system and the law enforcement were built on redlining. You know, these police officers joined up with the mob, who joined up with our politicians to shut the black neighborhood and black families down. This city was built on blood money. Redlining built these buildings, redlining built our institutions, redlining continues to shape our police force.
That's actually a history lesson. He's not just giving that off the top of his head. He's not making it up. That's actual history. So if you don't think that Kansas City has a strong gang connection, we all know about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, don't we? Do y'all know where it happened?
Where did the St. Valentine's Day Massacre happen? Union Station.
Our Union Station.
Our Union Station.
So that means we do have mob ties in this city.
We have mob ties in this city, linked up with our politicians and linked up with our police force going way back. They have never valued black lives, and they continue to perpetuate a culture that does not value black lives. You know, whenever we were meeting last night, we were trying to figure out how do we tie in all these different problems together in a way that Kansas City can understand and rally behind. And the fact is that they have a culture that does not value black lives. They have a culture that sees black lives as lesser than my life. And I don't agree. I am going to fight against that. If I have to die so that our brothers can live, that's just, I'm giving back my white privilege. We gotta do what, you know, we gotta stand, those of us. And you know what, I appreciate all the white folks who've been showing up at the rallies, showing up today. You know, we gotta be the first line of defense, because those cops are gonna reach right around us and kill our brothers and sisters if they can. And so, you know, let's continue to use our privilege on behalf of our brothers and sisters, because until their lives are every bit as valuable as mine, all lives don't matter. All lives matter when Black Lives Matter. Historically, they haven't. So power to the people. I've run out of things to say, but I'll be yelling something sooner or later. Who wants the mic? All right, nobody wants the mic. Sheryl's voice needs a break. Chief Smith and Brad Lemon shaped the culture of the KCPD. And we need a new culture. As we're seeing all across the country, we're seeing reform, and we're seeing things happen to break the system and break the back of white supremacy in America. I'm gonna hand it off to my brother Ron.
Hey, so my name's Ron. Yeah, I don't got nothing pre-prepared or nothing like that. You know, it's kind of like a freestyle off the dome. Hey, I feel you. I'm out here talking. Hey, so off top, I'll tell y'all, I was reading an article this morning about what happened down in Minnesota and about how one of the officers involved in the murder of George Floyd, dude named Kang, last name Kang, mixed by some sort, black by some sort. He was talking to a partner of his who was criticizing him for becoming a police officer, and he said, don't you think this thing needs to be fixed from the inside? Don't you think there needs to be somebody on the inside working on this? I've been hearing a lot about abolition in the last couple of weeks. And you know, I mean, it's a conversation that needs to be had in the sense that in the United States of America, at least here in Kansas City from my experience, we have two very different systems of justice. If you work within the white-collar industries, if you work within the means of the system, if you are an owner of a business, if you're the owner of property, then they will protect you. They will show up when there is that robbery. They will show up when there is a protest at the plaza. When it comes to our citizens, when it comes to individuals within our communities, there's not necessarily that level of response. There's not necessarily that level of concern. You see things going down in our streets, and just to be frank, people every day killing each other over personal issues, over personal grievances, because they can't even go to the state to solve the solution. Murders every single freaking day in this country, bodies. And we keep thinking that, okay, we're just gonna keep policing these neighborhoods and we're gonna keep sending people in and this and that. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, either system within the United States of America, whether you go by the system that is prescribed to or the system of the streets, it ends in death, it ends in loss of life. Because if you, I mean, hell, people catch bodies in these streets every day. People do murders in Kansas City every day and go to jail for life. Lose their life over petty stuff that people do in their teenage years. You lose their life over drug trade. Lose their life over all these petty little things. And then what's the opposite end of the system? A loss of life in a cell. A loss of life 25 years to life. A loss of life by injection. A loss of life by guns. A loss of life by whatever it may be. So I stand here to say, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is, you know, these systems, it's tough. And unless you got people up there who are really willing to acknowledge that and come down here and talk to us about the daily grievances that we have, the daily interactions that we have, the daily struggles that we have to find justice amongst ourselves, then I'm not sure that we will have an opportunity to progress forward. And that's why I say that Chief Smith needs to resign. We need to fire Chief Smith, because at the end of the day, he's proven it. He's proven it. And I don't like being out here in public talking about my politics. I don't like being out here in public putting myself on blast. I ain't nobody, I ain't no mayor, I ain't no city council person. But for real, at the end of the day, we gotta do something for our people, and that's all I gotta say.
I want to call Tommy Simmons up. A lot of people don't know who Tommy Simmons is. But Tommy Simmons been dealing with this for a lot of years. And just to let you know, come on, Tommy, come on. Get on off that phone, Tommy. Oh, you want to go live? Make it happen, make it happen. We're going to let him go live. But I just want to sit down and I want to talk. I want to, first of all, thank each and every one of you all for coming out. Because I know that some people didn't want to get out here in the rain, but they ain't understanding. We did have a black brother, and I can't remember his name at this moment, and I'm sorry you guys, I couldn't remember his name. But I know it was 4 officers that had him down in the rain in a puddle and held him down, and he died. So
That ain't right.
that ain't right. That's all I can say. They don't care exactly who you are, what you are, where you come from, but policies and procedures is a key factor. And Chief Smith needs to stand by the policies and the procedures. Nobody is greater than me. Nobody is greater than him. We put our pants leg on, one leg at a time. And that's the key factor. And it's only one race, which is called the human race. I don't know what people think. And if people turn around and look at, a lot of people have not been educated. They just have not been educated. We've been indoctrinated all of our life. And let me tell you what indoctrination is. Indoctrination is basically when they tell you that Columbus discovered America, and we know he did. And that's what the KCPD is doing. They're being indoctrinated. They don't know. I spoke to 4 young officers yesterday, actually 5, down on the 18th and Vine Street area that we finally got some help down there. And these young guys, they just really don't know. They're new on the police force. But one thing they did say, it kept me uplifted. We don't have the same values that the old folks do. How about that? Yeah. We don't have the same values. So I think if we just stay steadfast, stay prayerful, because see, this is a spiritual warfare. A lot of people don't know. I ain't even gonna talk about that because we got Reverend Randy Feeke here. You see, but I'm not gonna even go there. I'm gonna let him touch on all that. But this is a spiritual warfare that we're up against, and actually we're winning. We're winning. The first time in life, in history, we are making history. Each and every one of you all that are here, that we are making history. And with history, things will change. But we have got to stay steadfast and we got to stay prayerful. Because right now, the universe has a different change. This is happening all over the world, and I don't even think Martin Luther King did that one. So, not just in the United States, I'm talking about over in Europe and everything. So hold one moment, I'm gonna bring Tommy up.
I'm not a real speaker. And what I do is I research and find proper cause problems. A lot of y'all don't know how Chief Smith got into office. He wasn't even supposed to be in office at all. The Board of Police Commission paid $100,000, I think, to find a outside chief. We ended up with a local chief. Now, how did that happen? That happened because Chief Forte started an investigation on the corruption of the FOP president, Brad Lemon.
Brad Lemon.
This was going to take Brad Lemon down. So they had to find a way to stop the investigation. The way they stopped the investigation, they put Chief Smith in, which is Brad Lemon's best friend, and he's a FOP himself. We got okay. So that's how we got Chief Smith. Chief Smith was never supposed to be in, no way. And the corruption that we got. But what we're gonna do is, in the next day or so, we're gonna make Jean Peters Baker. I am anyway. Gonna make Jean Peters Baker stand behind her law that she has enforced about the Fourth Amendment. In the Fourth Amendment, she says in the Camry Lamb case that one of her factors in charging the police officer was because he came up on Camry Lamb's property without a warrant. I have documentation, transcripts from Brad Lemon for a period of time. And I was one of the people that he came up on my property and installed a GPS under my car in the middle of the night without a warrant. And if that's the case, that's a Fourth Amendment violation. And we're gonna have Gene to file charges on Brad Lemon, who is the president of the FOP. And that's one of the reasons why Brad Lemon is so hard-filled to back the police, because he's the one that's the best corrupter in the whole police department. And we're asking for a sunshine law because I was just told the other day that he's responsible for several shootings of black men himself. He has probably 20 or 30 complaints against him as when he was a police officer. Now all this stuff is documented, and I got a black bag in my truck that can tell you all this what I'm telling you now. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with y'all about how Chief Smith is in office and why. And it's all about this corruption. And local control is not going to work no kind of way when you still got the same actors in office. If you don't get rid of Chief Smith and Brad Lemon and Jean Peters Baker, you still gonna have the same state control, you know. But who's next?
I know I've been telling everybody else to stay from in front of it. I should know better.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna move right up underneath this thing right here.
It's still public property. We're allowed to do that. But as you're going, I just want you to take this with you. So the FOP, Brad Lemon, I've been told by the commissioners on a couple of occasions that he's not going to come to the meetings anymore. But it's funny, if you actually follow Brad Lemon, he's a bully, and he treats the city as such. He constantly persecutes the city council, threatening to sue on anything that they do, of any action to try and fix the problems that we have within this community. You guys can go ahead and start moving. I'll keep talking. So if he is actually trying so adamantly to fight against the city, what regime is he trying to keep control of? gonna pause for the rain, y'all.
We on wheels.
Okay.
Keep talking, we on wheels, right? Yeah. Come on, right there. Let's go.
We're moving to an awning because it's starting to rain. A little harder. How you doing? I'm Gabriel.
Hi, I figured that. Thank you.
It really feels good on the skin.
It does.
Yeah, it feels great.
With problems and menopause, this rain is fine. And I got natural hair, I really don't care.
And I got weave, I really don't care.
The rain came down a little bit, so we just moved on to an awning. Still public property, so.
Since we moved up here, I want to kind of help you guys to understand something before they come and try and tell you different. This is public property. This, that, it's public property. So who owns it? So are you trespassing? No. Make sure you remember that is your right to be on public property to demonstrate your First Amendment rights. Because the fact that we moved up here, that could be the very first thing that they try and come out and say.
They try to move us before.
This is public property. Your tax dollars pay for it. You have a right to be here. You have a right to speak. But back to Brad Lemon. So even after Gene basically gave the order through the grand jury indictment to file charges against the officer, Brad went right back to his tactics on the FOP page. They are leaving out facts of what happened in the case. And because of the white supremacist culture that they have within their mindset, when I try and come back to them, but the grand jury indictment said this, all I get is attack. So back to Chief Smith. How do you put an officer back on duty 9 days after he killed someone when the two officers on the scene have conflicting statements of what happened?
That ain't right.
The two officers that were actually on the scene when Cameron took his last breath, one of them that had the closest view of Cameron said he did not have a gun. So Officer DeValconier, well, he's only suspended, y'all. They haven't even fired him. They haven't even fired him after we've gone through 9 days after the fact you're being back out on the street. The facts of the matter come out. You're under indictment for involuntary manslaughter, which is too low of a charge. Involuntary manslaughter happens when you get drunk and accidentally kill someone. Did y'all hear me earlier when I said that Kansas City has 4.5 times higher than the national average of killing black people?
Right.
So how is that an accident?
Right.
If your officers are conditioned and trained to shoot to kill, how is that an accident?
Right.
That's what happened.
Yep.
That's why we need to change the culture. The only way that we can change the culture is that pat on the back that he keeps giving them. Because if he's not giving them the pat on the back, then why would they change their actions? You change your actions when you're at your job, when you get called in and wrote up, right? When you get told you're on that final warning, you change your behavior if you want to keep your job, right? But if you don't care how you act, become a Kansas City, Missouri Police Department officer, and you can do whatever you want to do. You can use your own vendetta to kill people. And to stay under qualified immunity, all you have to say is, I thought he had a gun, I'm scared.
That ain't right.
That's the culture that we have right now. Tommy, you raising your hand like this in school. We're going to put up here and get on the mic. Well, I can tell you this factually. I don't want to state facts that I'm not 100% sure of, but I factually know
I
from
didn't hear the
December
question.
3rd through June 13th that they killed 7.
Yeah, that ain't right.
Right. Right.
They killed 7 in a 6-month time frame.
That's right.
All under Chief Smith. That's just in the last 6 months. That's just the last 6 months from right now where we're standing here today. Absolutely. Plus, I'd like to speak of the culture. And I'm hoping I don't hurt people because there's people from Cameron's family here right now.
What about the complaints?
What about the complaints? The Office of Citizens Complaints actually uses the excuse that they don't finalize and be able to finalize any of the complaints to investigate because there's not a cooperation of the person that filed the charges. But when you go file the charges to the Office of Community Complaints, do you know where you go? It does go back to Chief Smith, but I'm just talking about the intimidation tactics. So if you ever actually go to file a complaint against an officer, you're going to go to an old hospital. We've all seen Jason, right? So you're going to go to an old hospital to have an interrogation room opened up for you, come in and sit down, and a person in a blue uniform with a badge and a gun will come and take your statement. Is that a comfortable environment if you already feel that you've been wronged by an officer? So does that seem that they have a culture to care what's going to take place with your complaint? We actually had a forum back in March. Poor Merrill Bennigan, he's the director of the Office of Citizens Complaints. Poor Merrill Bennigan, he chose to show up. He chose to, he was not invited. He chose to. One of the attorneys, and there was the Bar Association that was there, she brought up her specific case. And she basically made light of what you go through when you're there. And then his answer is that we don't get resolution because you don't comply. If you have a high percentage of not being able to close a complaint because the people are not complying, it's the problem of the person or it's the problem of the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Process.
So I need y'all to make sure you remember that in November, because you know who has the power to change the process? Well, actually you don't. The police commissioners do. The governor appointed police commissioners. All they have to do is state it, and all that has to happen is 3 of the 5 basically say, this is what we're doing going forward, and it would change. So 3 people that you did not vote for, that was not appointed by anybody that you will have an immediate opportunity to make any kind of a pressure so that you don't get voted in again. That's who we have to rely on. The culture. The reason why Chief Smith has to go is I've sat in too many meetings. I sat in January, I sat in February, I sat in March. And each month I brought to them some of the concerns that we have as Black community. Yeah, I see what they're doing. Until they come up and talk to me, I'm still talking. So every single month in their face, I brought that up to them. In April, I brought up to them of the body cam issue. During that same session, Kathy Dean, who we would think would be a friend, basically also brought up to Chief Smith what's going on with the body cam issue.
The officer starting to arrive.
And they had a little bit of discussion about it, and he brought up the excuse. And then in May, I basically posed to them, for the excuses that you have 2 stations that have the biggest problems. Fix it there first, and then worry about the money for the other areas. You don't need it for every place right now. But in April, watch, and I had to do a version
4
because it didn't come
officers
on,
coming up.
to watch the chief give the excuse. To watch the chief give the excuse of why he did not get body cameras, and to have the board basically state that they felt that he should have them. Who's in control? If your 5 bosses tell you to do something and we expected you to have it in the budget and you don't put it in the budget, then what? Who is your boss? If your 5 bosses cannot persuade you or change what you're doing, it sounds like you're your own boss. So back again, we have to change the culture. And in order to change the culture,
Cops are taking down
we
the
cannot do it
signs.
with Chief Richard Smith being the chief. Since we're distracted now, let's be distracted.
Be out here and help them. Support them. This is the shit they think they can kill us and then just treat us like trash.
Can we can still carry them, but just not post them? That's what you're saying?
Are you taking that down because you don't value black lives?
Throw it away.
I'm taking down all the black
Value your personal monument.
lives matter stuff.
If you recite to me which law is in violation that you're removing that, because I know that you guys don't know the law.
Your precious little monument. You don't care about black and brown lives, do you? That's not what you care about. You care about this fucking monument to these dead ass white fucking racist ass cops. That's what you care about on your private property. Bullshit.
So they had signs up that were taken down.
Keep throwing that bullshit out. You know this thing won't say something. No. There's no reason. I can cuss all I want. It's not against the law. Is it against the law? Not to cuss? We didn't say that. No, how about
So they took the sign down from the.
Please don't put anybody in the property here. That makes it, if you do that, that's illegal.
Sheryl is yelling, "Why are you blocking your name?" to the police officers.
Black lives are these fuckers killed. These fuckers killed. And you gotta run a fucking memorial paying homage to them. Your emergency lights on their vehicles, you guys are blocking the fucking street.
We have.
How many fucking times over here they fucking lynched somebody? You got somebody dead in 1911, 1912. They done probably done fucking lynched somebody.
Give us your name. Give us your name. Give us your name. Give us your name.
Please don't put posters and stuff. We can do what we want on public property as long as we're not defacing it with paint or anything.
This ain't private. This is public.
Keep saying that to yourself.
Oh, you wanna
We pay your fucking salary. We pay your salary.
Well, then why can't signs be hung?
Hey,
Hold on, turn around. Give me your badge number and your name. Give me your name and your badge number. You're authorized to give us that.
Serial number 4064.
Him. I want his. I want his. Hey, I want your badge number. I want your badge number. I want your badge number.
Not understanding why you're following us and becoming hostile. I don't understand. Hostile to you. All we did was remove the items. Now we're leaving. But yet now you guys are pursuing us. I don't understand why. Who's got another sign? Why are you pursuing us?
Why did you even come over here?
Sergio, do you have tape in your car?
You must be a FOP member. Why did you even come over here? To take that precious flag off of your little monument to all these dead racist cops.
Hey, Grand Living Boy. Yeah, man, you're probably calling from back though.
Chief Smith and Brad Lemon gotta go.
While we're waiting to get things back in order, if we could bring your attention back up here. If we could bring your attention back up here real quick, I just want to be able to give honor. Can I get everyone that's at least standing here and paying attention up in this venue to give a virtual hug to this young lady to my left? we're going to have to give her support and strength as well. This is actually the sister of Cameron Lamb. She hasn't been vocal, but we want to help and give her an opportunity to have a chance to get some purge of the things she's been holding inside since her brother was taken from us. And I'm not doing it right now, so let me stop. Just give her love and honor, people.
December 3rd. Was one of the worst days of my life. My brother was murdered by the KCPD in his own home, in his garage, in his car. For the last 6 months, I've had to watch on the news them slander my brother's character. But I want to share with you what type of person my brother was. My brother was a great person. My brother loved his boys. He loved his family. He loved his friends. My brother had a talent. He was very handy with his hands, with fixing things. My brother had big plans and big dreams that weren't fulfilled because his life was senselessly taken. We see it on TV around the world every day, police brutality. But never in a million years did I think that it would happen to someone that I loved.
It's all right, it's all right. Take the time.
When I found out that my brother was murdered, it changed me. It fueled a fire in me that made me want to fight.
Yeah.
Fight not only for justice for my brother, but fight for my boys, my beautiful black boys, to fight for my nieces and my nephews, to fight for me as a black woman. Our lives matter too. Our lives matter too. We have a right to live just as much as they do. And to my fellow brothers and sisters, I just want for you to know that now is the time for us to come together and put our differences aside. For years and years, they have tried to break us. They have oppressed us, but we are powerful, we are strong, we are resilient. Amen. And once we understand that once we put our differences aside and come together as a whole, we can be unstoppable. Thank you.
Black power.
As I've mentioned, I've been attending the police commissioners' meetings every single month since this happened. There's a personal connection that I actually have with the family, aside from the fact that her mother and I used to be co-workers forever ago, before Brianna and Cameron were even thought of. And Brianna and Cameron were high school sweethearts. Brianna's my daughter. They were both each other's first. So just to have that ripped from her, and even though they weren't still together as a couple, there's still love. My daughter is down in Texas still suffering because this person that they have just murdered, and for those that don't know the story, the police department's website posted it to a point. To a point they actually posted the driving But then they stopped. And I even asked Chief Smith in March, why is it that you're only showing a portion of it? That is because, the case is still being investigated. Well, if the case is still being investigated, why do you have any of it up there? That just goes to further show the culture that they want to paint the bad picture on the victim. Chief Smith had Cameron investigated before he even started the investigation on Officer DeVault. Are you guys taking away our rights to demonstrate?
So they're putting up the sign again, and then the cops came back to take the sign down. So I'm gonna go down there and see what's going on.
Why is that your job? We haven't defaced the statue.
So the police are saying that
We're not aggressive. This was aggressive. Then we're not either. To do what? To do what?
Where's the supervisor?
Not just stand on the side.
Well, at this point, it's not something that we can debate. You know what I mean? That just like I told you over there.
There's no debate. There's nothing to debate. You said deface. That means for the surface of the appearance of something.
Okay.
Example,
So the bottom line is the flag. I mean, this banner has to be
this is the organizer.
No justice! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up!
The mayor has given you direction to not pursue us like this. And why are you covering yours?
Hands up! That's hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
How many points do you have?
Hands up!
I told my career.
Yes.
I've had probably one substantiated.
The reason why I'm asking that is that that's kind of the actions of an officer that doesn't want his name to be seen. That me and people who look like me should be scared of me. So that's an offensive stance. I'm sorry you feel that way. Really, do you? Do you feel sorrow that I feel that way? You guys have terrorized the black community for long enough. Why do you feel that this is a mark of superiority? I don't have to give you your
We just standing on our strength. That's it.
Actually, you guys have brought the violence. You guys have brought the violence. I've actually given specific instructions that we're not defacing property, but we are displaying. And therefore, what we're displaying is not causing any permanent damage. I don't understand the reason why you're persecuting us right now. We have a right to express our concern. Your boss's boss, whoever it is that you have to Chief Smith has to change the culture within this department. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that you have a better future because of a chief that puts somebody back on the force, on the streets 9 days after he's killed somebody, doesn't care about your mental well-being. He doesn't care about you. So we're trying to help you as well. We are trying to help you as well. We're trying to get rid of someone that has oppressed the black community, that has given basically to me, if you haven't stopped us from killing us, you've given us the order to kill black people.
I see it in your hand. I'm not stupid. Okay, but why?
Why?
Peaceful.
De-escalate.
You guys are the only ones presenting right now anything that's not peaceful.
And we understand
We've been
that,
pepper sprayed and gassed enough.
but we don't know you guys.
My name is Sheryl Ferguson.
I'm Officer Hirschberger. Nice to meet you.
I've actually asked him to stop covering up. I've actually asked him to stop covering up his name.
Well, I can't control him. I'm not his supervisor.
But I'm just saying, we were peaceful until the presence was brought.
And I understand, and I get it. I completely understand everything that's
You've been given
going
an order by
on.
the mayor to allow us to protest.
We're not making you leave. We're just asking that These people, the people here died defending your right to do this.
You know, one of the people that you're speaking of that died defending our right to do that shot and killed himself.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I get that.
I sat up here and watched when they did the memorial. So a lot of these officers just died because they were incompetent, just like your chief is.
I can't speak on that.
I know you can.
I'm doing my job just like everybody else. I respect your right to be here. I understand why you're doing it.
So now that you guys have evaluated that, it's time for justice. My group has organized for people to come down here and protest. We do not feel that the chief is safe for our community.
That's
So
not
all the
permanent.
people that are here, I'm sorry, that was after
It's not permanent.
So we have told the people that are here that it is not okay to do like what happened across the street. We actually also worked in calling Frank White before that happened because we want it down, but we're trying to be right. So we're not condoning that. We're just trying to display that our lives matter. So where's the problem?
I'm not denying it.
So where's the problem?
Your life, his life,
So
everybody's
where's the
life.
problem?
I don't know. What problem are you
going to stay
There's
where we are now.
feeling this strong stance because we're trying to display our banner while we're protesting, which we have the right to do.
Far better than what we were.
You don't care about nothing that this banner represents.
And that's why it's being illegal. We came down here, but you have to understand that part of what I spoke of initially is that when you guys show up with that force, black people are already scared because you have a target on our back and you kill us anyway. Even if we're compliant with what you're asking.
That's not a problem because we're not doing anything. We're being peaceful.
Well, I've already told you.
Our streets! Those streets! Our streets! Our streets! Who's memorial? Our memorial.
Let's just hold
They're
on.
already escalating it. Who's sitting paddy wagons into arrest?
Who's sitting? Our city! Who's sitting? Our city! Who's sitting? Our city!
Take the banner down.
No, we don't
Our
take
city!
that.
That's the whole point.
Keep
We're
them
not,
the police.
we're not
Why do we
breaking
have to
the
take the
law.
banner down? Because we're trying to protest for our lives to matter. And as long as we're under Chief Smith, they don't.
What would you prefer as an alternative to Chief Smith?
Equal, fair voting process that doesn't just automatically give us someone that's already been here.
So
We already
you're-
believe that somebody
you're
within this department is
you're
corrupt. We
suggesting
need to have the
our
process
leadership to be voted on like the mayor. Is that
No,
what you're
not the
suggesting?
chief. The chief should be appointed by the board. The board should be something that we have more of a control to vote into office other than appointed by someone that lives out of the state. Right now you have a board that consistently for decades has never employed or had someone stand in that position that is from the area that has the biggest problems within the city. So you exclude us continuously from the process, from the governor down. But we have enough information on Chief Smith alone.
Well, we don't control the office of
I
citizenship.
understand that.
I know you don't.
I know you don't. But I don't understand right now if you cannot tell me what law we violated.
That's why you don't
Why
have
are you
control.
coming
You
with
love
another force
them.
that you're trying to
You
have
love
arrested?
them.
You calling in the paddy wagon.
More sergeants.
I'm looking, I'm observing.
A couple officers pulled up, putting a sergeant.
That vehicle's just another officer. That's just their vehicle they drive. It has nothing to do with arresting
I'm
anybody.
standing right here close. If I had an intention of doing anything violent, I would have done it by now.
And if I felt that intention, I wouldn't be standing in this place.
So I don't care why you're doing this. You're actually giving us fuel to our right now by the way that you're acting. The mayor has asked for you not to go throw a force when we're exhibiting our First Amendment rights. So you guys are in violation of the direct order of the mayor.
I don't know about that. That I don't know.
Their behavior.
But what law is breaking?
No.
What law is it breaking? What law is it breaking? Tell me what law is breaking and I'll stop
I'm not moving. We're not moving.
They had no reason to come in here.
Because they're arguing that they can hold it, we can put it in. Take the tape off and then we don't touch. We can leave it where it's at, just no tape. Then they can't get us to prove it.
Have him give that and you put that to the crowd. I'm not approving that action. I need for them to tell me what law we violated. And until they tell me what law we violated, they're being here as bullies of the city under the direction of the chief.
And without that leadership, it's going to continue.
It's going to continue.
Yeah, that's
without that leadership.
Right. I'm still waiting for because you're not, if we're not. I'm waiting on the law that we're violating.
Extending that courtesy.
What law are we violating? What law are we violating?
You told me to
What law are we violating? Because you can't tell me what law we're violating. Inappropriate is not a violation of the law. We're not defacing it.
Okay, that's your opinion.
No, what is defacing?
That's something that...
What is defacing?
All right, so how about the best thing we can do is just be quiet.
Right.
Otherwise, we're talking in circles.
It's just memorial. It's memorial. Black lives.
Black lives,
whatever.
We're going to get the rotten one at the top so that you guys don't, you even good cops. If one of those officers tell you, we're going to do this and do that, you're going to do what he says, whether it's right or wrong. You're going to do it. I've watched it. If that cop there tells you, we're going to pick up this boy 3 miles from his house, we're going to take him to his parents' house.
But you guys are trained to shoot
Pick
and
him up,
kill.
take him to his parents'
So
house.
we're trying to protect them. We don't have a monument for them. We're trying to protect them right now. There's nothing that we're doing right now to do that. And from the direction of us, we have not given them, actually given them action tonight. When I saw somebody throw a paper at y'all, I told them we're not about that. We're not doing that. We're not here to come against you. We're here to come against your leader. And
this top cop,
but that is not defacing it.
is allowing that behavior.
That is not defacing anything.
He's allowing that behavior.
And it will look just like it did before.
And when people say a good leader, he will stop it.
All officers dedicated. Either you stand with the law or you stand against the law. Hey, Sheryl, I need y'all to listen.
Yes.
I want every officer to stand it with the law or if you stand it against the law. The law states if you're defacing property, you're putting a permanent mark or you writing on it. There is nothing written on this thing. There's a temporary sign that is placed there. Now you tell me what officer, because the officer that put a hand or arrest anybody here, we will proceed further.
But it shows you how fast they can break their own fucking law.
You want us to divide by the policy? I want you to stand by policy and procedure. And you cannot give me not one municipal code that is totally wrong. They are not breaking anything illegal.
And this is a peaceful demonstration until you guys make us be unpeaceful.
It was till the cops showed up.
It's very peaceful.
I like your president.
We were peaceful until y'all showed up.
You know, dog, you got everybody like this black president, slow down the black people. I love that.
It was quiet until y'all showed up.
He's not around here. I wouldn't tell you what it is. I respect cops. I respect cops. He's about your age. Look, I respect cops, but it's the bad cops that allow other cops to get away with it, that causing this culture. You young man, you ain't even had some of these cops, the ones I'm talking about, been here, what, 20, 25 years? You gonna tell me that same behavior that they handled 20 and 30 years, they done changed it? No. My name is Stanley Goodwin. I'm Stanley Goodwin. Yeah, I like this conversation coming along. It's something like it is one. My thing about the flag, I'm not against Black Lives Matter. No. But so far as that flag, they have a right to do that because they're not defacing property. It's temporary. We're up here having a peaceful demonstration because black people fear cops anyway. Now here y'all come. So now we got everybody tensing up. Y'all making us tense up. I'm real. You're making me tense up coming around me when we feel peaceful.
Actually, y'all want to
Because oh my God, I'm gonna tell you the story I just told them. Because right now I'm tense because y'all bringing a police presence. He just put the mace up. We telling you we peaceful. We telling you we gonna take
We want them to be police officers. You all are supposed to be a representative of your community. You have children that are looking here at you and how you're responding to your community. Officer White,
Holding the flag.
you know I love you,
They just can't tape it to.
but you need a spanking.
That's literally it.
So if they could get that flag up there without that tape, they'd be all right.
You need a spanking, Officer White.
You telling me it's a permanent? You telling me that tape is a permanent etch, and that's the whole problem? The tape is the problem.
Don't get pulled in. You gotta be joking. Tape?
Not an
Really?
issue.
Tape?
Taping is the issue. We can't
Tape? You serious?
How is tape permanent?
Hey, take the tape off. Take the tape off. But we know where defacing is. Everybody.
And if you guys
Hey,
want to just
Officer
hold
White,
the banner,
No, check this out. Check this out.
Don't
Hold on.
attach it.
Let me speak. Let me speak. See, what y'all saying is good. I go get some stick and glue, and I'll glue that bitch up there. Is that okay?
Because if you want to see the
You don't see no tape,
that's
now you see
defacing.
glue.
That's defacing. Spraying on it, burning, everything that Kansas City has not been doing up until
Officer White,
I think there's more about this. I think there's
Officer Hirschberger, can you save your friend from a spanking? You know when we kids?
There you go. Stop.
Well, you know when we kids, you don't want your brother to get spanked, do you? So you help him clean his room up, right?
Squash all this
Okay.
shit.
My question is, can you take your phone out, look
Y'all give us our
up the
space and let us
definition
continue.
for
Can we do that?
defacing?
Can we do that? They gonna hold the sign. Y'all gonna leave us alone. Y'all gonna do what y'all do and let us finish. Let's do that. Get out of our face. Can y'all get out of our face? Come on. Come on, can y'all get out of our face and let us finish? And we be gone by now.
We'll take turns. We will take turns holding it.
They're not gonna take it. They're not gonna take it.
They're working it out. They're working it out. They're working it out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Get around it. Because
They don't respect us, but they keep somebody.
Policing ourselves.
Because the police are trying to prohibit us from exhibiting. So please share this everywhere. Share, share, share. They are down here violating our First Amendment rights. They have completely proliferated our protests because now they want us to protest against them acting irresponsibly in their actions. They are basically trying to protect a piece of cloth. We have not defaced anything. They're trying to protect a piece of cloth covering up the names of officers that have died in the line of duty, like ones that were chasing another suspect and shot him in himself. That shows the names of actually the building. But that's what they want us to be out for. They want us to protect those that kill themselves and kill the community, but they do not want us to protest.
Did somebody call Channel 5, Channel 4, Channel 41, Channel 9? Somebody take their phones out and call. If y'all sitting up there, can y'all call Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 9?
No, it's not. This is more violent than we wanted to be because you guys show the violence.
Film the police.
Why is the paddy wagon?
Film the police.
If the cop is on duty,
Film the police.
if the cop is on duty,
Cameras on duty.
Hey, why don't we start figuring out who killed Donnie Sanders?
You don't even need the paddy wagon. That's where we don't take it anyway. I want y'all to give us our rights back. We were peacefully protesting using our First Amendment rights until y'all showed up in this court.
Even after it's over.
Why don't one of y'all not want to get in the way of people protesting? We typically try to do whatever we can to facilitate people protesting. There's always
Their precious little money. You don't even know half. Because we got told it to our faces as we were getting tear gassed.
I know, but you're the sergeant.
I know. But that being said,
Then you need to ask this officer to step aside. Tell them to stick it. Show us that you're going to defuse everything and tell them
They're going to, all these officers are going to stand down in about 60 seconds.
So my whole purpose
All these officers will stand down and
have a dialogue. I can see the people kind of
as long as it's not taped. I just looked it up and I just spoke with the officers in it. As long as
We
we're
would
not
like Chief
taped,
Smith
we
fired.
can
That's
hold
all.
it, we can handle
Well,
it.
that I can't.
I know you
And
can.
get them out here. Other than that,
we don't even want him out here.
But what I do want is to make sure I can't you got more juice than I have. I can't make those phone calls and get that.
Yeah, you can. You just
but
don't
what I
want to.
can do is talk to talk to everybody so that we can have an understanding.
We've been to them. We've been to them because they're
Tate's not up there anymore.
I know, but I'm saying
Where has talk you got nothing?
they can prove that there's strategy on the state. As long as there's nothing that will leave a mark.
So they'll take us to court over something serious.
You came and made me stop screaming. You came and made me stop screaming, and you gonna say you're not intimidating me?
We already moved.
You made me stop
I'm
screaming.
laughing behind his back.
All right.
Residue from Tate.
I'm not gonna show his face.
You guys know the residue of the tear gas that was inside the fountain and the pepper spray that was inside the fountains of that night? The fact that some of us dunked our heads into it and got burned on our heads?
We can be in it together.
They don't care about that residue.
Call it the residue of the hundreds of videos and pictures that I have. Officer that was down there participating in brutalizing somebody, leaving permanent marks, permanent damage, taking people's eyes out.
Yeah.
Just so you guys are aware, I have hundreds of hours of evidence of this. I have faces, I have badges, I have names.
Is always enough. It's different for everyone. So anytime anybody goes,
That's the residue. That's real residue. The residue of the pictures that I have of our trash streets from when you guys walked through.
Sometimes people don't know, right? Because you don't know what it's going to feel like going through.
Can after can, canister after canister, beanbag after beanbag, bullet after bullet.
Sure.
I'm taking it back out.
Sure.
No, they care about this residue. This residue is more.
And I actually posed in March.
The trauma that people out there face. From me sitting down and talking to them crying inside their houses, afraid to leave, afraid to come back to the city, afraid to bring their kids out to a park.
Thank you.
But against your hierarchy.
It's against the hierarchy.
The trauma.
That legacy you don't know nothing about.
Real
I'm
fucking
gonna
residue.
take what you're saying
That's
as
a shame.
I'm gonna take what you're saying as
You know about this.
Every last 3 years, I want you guys to go back into that office and I want you to tell them how that made you feel, how the thought of shooting children with rubber bullets and beanbags and gas made you feel.
And in March, I
We need to sit down and have a therapy session in there.
because that means that he not only didn't care about his
Figure out where everybody's at. Get some psyche valves, because that's psychotic.
He does not care what he did to the family. Sending someone back into war.
There was minimal property damage. If you consider the entire country, Kansas City had some of the least property damage throughout the entire country. Why? Because we love our city. Because whose city is this? Our city. Whose city? Our city.
But you know they care more about property damage than they do
The people's lives.
The property damage then takes to the main story instead of the Black Lives.
And I told you before, we could have burnt this motherfucking city down a month ago. Can I borrow you?
We should have burnt this city down months ago. We should have burnt this motherfucker down.
They're going to move all the officers, but they just want 2 people to confirm what
Trying to
they're
be nice. Being
saying.
nice ain't never got us nowhere. Being nice ain't never got us nothing. Asking and marching ain't never got us nothing.
Okay.
This is Cheryl.
Okay. So what's going to happen is the 2 of you are going to come with me if you choose to. You don't have to. All right? Because I want you to talk to my commander. Okay? So they can explain what our role is and what we're going to do. They're right down the street. Well, they're going to go over here a few feet away to talk to you. Okay? But that's just the 2 of you. Everybody else is going to have to stay where they are or up here. Okay? All right.
We up here. This is what they want us to do.
I don't think I can go. Sorry, guys.
Down here with this bull crap. So everything that we came here for, nothing's gonna get accomplished. And I don't want to be a part of nothing if ain't nothing gonna get accomplished. It's wasted time. Yeah, they did it on purpose. And we let them. Let's go back to our agenda. Ain't nothing gonna get done out of this. I'm gone. I'm wasting my time. You're supposed to be here trying to help these cops, not these bad cops, by getting rid of the top bad cop.
It was bad cops before that bad cop got in there.
But that behavior and that attitude is as long as he allows it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
These are good, we got good cops.
We do. We do. A few.
We got good cops. But we got a bad cop that lying and these good cops that don't step up.
We got
when other cops do wrong are not good cops.
I ain't gonna be guilty. I met a few good cops. I've met a few
I
good
have.
cops. I really
I ain't never met one.
I haven't.
I have. But most 99%.
And if they not committing crimes, they keep inquiring about the people who are.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Where's the good cops?
They see what they want to see. That's damn sure.
Okay, exactly. But what if it's warranted for me as well?
As far as like people defending themselves?
Yeah, of course. But then at the same time, what about shooting an unarmed man?
Not warranted. You go to jail. They don't go.
Yeah, we can unpack that. I mean, just talk to that. What is your specific question? Definitely. So basically, how it is when someone is unarmed and they get shot down and the officer walks free. No, I mean, but on a training to shoot to kill instead of shoot to wound, instead of chase down, instead of
your life was in danger because I was running away.
Then you have a taser. I'm a pretty good shot. I imagine, I would hope that you guys could all catch somebody. I'm sure you guys are at least athletic to the point to where you're what 6 months? No, not even quite. 18 weeks, 16 weeks. In training?
What's going on, Fish?
Okay, and that happens. But does that mean you shoot the wing?
Hold on, why we don't want you to shoot the wound?
So then why would that be okay?
Hold on.
Somebody's running.
Why we don't want you to shoot the wound?
Let him speak.
Why we don't want you to shoot the wound?
Because I think you would grossly be overestimating the firearms capabilities.
This is the most ridiculous conversation
that is
we're having right now.
extremely difficult. And it wouldn't be appropriate. If you're at a situation where you're not using lethal force, you shouldn't be utilizing the firearm at all. There's other stuff that we would use in that type of situation that would be appropriate, whereas a firearm would not.
So why
You
is
see
it
what I'm saying?
appropriate to come up to what we're doing right
I don't think
here?
you want officers shooting at your legs and stuff like that. If it's not that type of thing, that would not be appropriate. You see what I'm saying?
So then why did you guys carry your guns out in the case?
Why you got guns over here?
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. We wouldn't shoot at somebody
one
if it
time,
wasn't like
if you guys walked up to a protest one time with your guys' firearm in your car,
My question is, why did
that's
you shoot me on the brown when
to
she
the
was
protesters.
what happened?
You know how big of a difference that would make? If you guys walked up one time without your guns, one time to a protest without your firearms, do you understand the message that would send?
I don't.
Really?
What happened?
That can shoot and kill every last person here. You guys have enough firepower on your belts to kill every single person here.
They just shot somebody for snatching one of their tasers a few weeks ago.
So what I'm saying to you is that we carry what we carry because there are different applications to use in different circumstances.
But this is an obvious piece of
It's just when it comes
So
to black
if I take your taser, if I take your taser right now, you can shoot me.
I want to answer his question. Then let me get to you because I want to try to talk to as many of you as I can. So we don't know what type of situations we're going to get into until we're in it, right? That's pretty, just like you guys. You didn't know what you were going to be met with when you showed up here today, right?
We did. We knew it'd be met with.
I mean, we expected it to be peaceful.
You'd be talking to
I like the
these department heads come out here and just talk to you.
No, y'all came out here and tagging
I don't envision any officer being cool based on my previous experiences as well. I'm having experiences every single day.
Can I hold your nightstick?
It's not bringing any good
not going nowhere. Listen.
Like I said,
can I hold your nightstick?
We don't know what we're going to be met with, obviously.
Considering your reinforcements, their reinforcements, they know, I mean, all we're doing is standing here. Therefore, it was advertised as a peaceful protest. You saw, what's her name? I haven't met her very much.
Cheryl.
I'm from a different organization.
Cheryl.
You guys met, she's the lady that's leading this protest.
For bad cops to remain on the force.
Cheryl, for you.
So basically, it was even advertised as a peaceful protest. We got people throwing stuff at the sign. We're doing anything,
when you are
it was stated
reprimanded more than 3
specifically
times,
that we could not vandalize today.
you're
That was a
usually
specific
dismissed from
thing
your
because we
job.
are about peaceful protest.
That means
So
you're doing
therefore,
a bad
all the
job.
reinforcements walking up,
you
especially,
have officers
where'd he go?
who have
Looks like
violated
he moved
15
away.
to
It
20
looks like he moved away.
violations.
The one that came up with his
And
pepper
nothing
spray's
has
wrong.
been done.
We're obviously,
We
yeah, and then he
have
hit it the
a
second we approached it. We're obviously peaceful. Obviously.
Okay,
Exactly.
if you can hear my voice, clap one time. If you can hear my voice, clap one time. If you're talking while I'm talking,
Listen up.
Hey, one mic.
One mic.
If you can hear my voice, clap one time.
One mic.
Oh, yeah. Randy,
Okay.
they came up here to move us.
No, they're not moving you if you listen to me.
Don't you
All
want
the
me to trust
officers are
you?
going to be standing down, but let me
Then let
give
me
you
hold your
guys what
nightstick.
the reality is.
But
The reality is you're not defacing property. The reality is we've not broken any laws.
one more time.
If we tape anything to the structure, they can say that the tape has residue, which can ruin the statue. So we are no longer going to affix the sign to the statue, but we can hold it there. We can even, if we wanted to, take the sign and move it up a little higher, put a bottle of water on top of it so that it doesn't move, and then we don't have to hold on to it anymore. Okay? No, we can't do streaming. We can put a bottled water on the clock so that it's not touching the property. All the officers are going to agree to step down. What we've agreed to is this. We will not affix anything to the statue, but we can leave it on there as long as there's a barrier between the statue and whatever we place on it. Anything else do I need to, is there anything else you want me to say? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, officer.
Right now, if more police officers will come out here and escort y'all to fucking ways, go after them, and then when they become murderers, he said we did nothing wrong, they won't. That's what we're going to do.
Back to the agenda.
Everyone can't want accountability. Thank you, Officer White.
There you go.
So they made an agreement that they can't affix the flag to the statue, but they could essentially have it held up by water bottles as long as it's not affixed by string or tape, because the residue could lead to there's vandalism of the statue. So they came to an agreement just to put water bottles on there, and the police said it's okay.
It's a win for peaceful protesters. You're laughing in the face of defeat.
The people united will never be divided. 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 Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what justice looks like.
This is what justice looks like.
Show me what community feels like.
This is what community feels
The
like.
people united will never be divided.
People united will never be divided.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, injustice has got to go. Hey, hey.
Ho, ho. Injustice has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
These racist cops have got to go.
Hey, hey.
Ho, ho. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. These racist cops have got to go.
What about Chief Smith has got to go?
Chief Smith has to go. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
Hey, I want you to take a look. I want you to take a look what defeat looks like. They got defeated.
The walk of shame.
The walk of shame.
The walk of shame. Look at them. Look at them. They wanted to arrest us so bad. Look at them.
They're figuring out how to actually fucking arrest
They
us.
had to run with their tails between their legs.
Oink, oink, motherfuckers. Hey, bring back some donuts while you're at it.
I like glaze.
Hey,
me too.
I know it hurts to be wrong. I know it hurts.
Let's see what's going on with Sheryl.
I seen her conversation, the 2-on-2 conversation suddenly becomes 6 officers around her, so that's why I stood. That's why I came over and.
There was officers behind me too?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I said to all of them, if we had intents of violence, we would have done that initially. We had them outnumbered
before the paddy wagon
Yeah,
showed up.
thank you, officer. I mean, thank you, Commander.
I'm not leaving. I will come back and finish. I gotta make another phone call.
Okay.
It's nice meeting you, man. I gotta get out of here.
Wait a minute, I thought we was going to eat our Chipotles.
You have to catch me when I'm not so hungry. Call us if you need something. Nice meeting you.
So, we just got to have an opportunity to do what Chief Smith never cares about, and that's training his officers how to de-escalate the situation. So, as I explained to Commander Cotterman, and I think you guys will back me up, the problem that we had was not that they were here. We're at their house. We know you're going to be here. But you showed up and you immediately snatched a sign without engaging with the people that were here protesting, finding out what we're here about. So, you know what she told me? She said they were acting on the direction from one of the higher-ups. Then we talk about we have to change the culture. Didn't we talk about we have to change the culture? Doesn't this event just show at the aspect that we have not done anything violently? We didn't have anybody with any kind of weapons to throw at them. When you guys threw a piece of paper, I even told you to stop. That's not what we're here for. We're about a peaceful protest. Because we can still exhibit change from that. But if you got instructions from your boss to come rip down the sign. Exactly. So that's the culture that Chief Smith has them operating under. That is the culture that Chief Smith wants them to exhibit. We actually had to teach them just now how to de-escalate a situation. We just had a training session. Thank you guys for showing up for the training session. Amen. We just taught the police how to de-escalate a situation. So I, right now, have promoted every last one of you here to Chief of Police. Congratulations on your new position.
Police to police. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Chief Rick Smith has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Chief Rick Smith has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Chief Rick Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho! Chief Rick Smith has got to go!
Just say Chief Smith, that's Rick don't play.
Our streets! Our streets! Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
The people united will never be divided!
People united will never be divided!
The people united will never be divided!
United will never be divided!
The people united will never be divided!
United will never be divided.
Say this with me. We are so tired. We are so tired. I can't hear you guys. We are so tired. We are tired of injustice. We're tired of racism. We're tired of living in a world where black lives don't matter. When I say black lives, you say matter. Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Black lives matter!
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter!
No justice.
No peace!
No justice.
No peace!
No justice.
No peace!
No justice.
No peace!
No justice. No peace. No racist police. No justice. No peace. no racist chiefs.
No justice, no peace, no racist chiefs.
If you guys are tired, raise your hand. You realize that we cannot rest, right?
Tired of it.
So say this with me. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
I get a tea later.
Now put a little swag to it. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Hey.
We who believe in freedom cannot
I can't sing. Y'all not gonna subject y'all
We
that.
who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Let's do it. Ready?
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Donnie Sanders, say his name.
Donnie Sanders.
Say his name.
Donnie Sanders.
Say his name.
Donnie Sanders.
Cameron Lamb, say his name.
Cameron Lamb.
Say his name.
Cameron Lamb.
What's his name?
Cameron Lamb.
Donnie Sanders, say his name.
Donnie Sanders.
Donnie Sanders, say his name.
Donnie Sanders.
Cameron Lamb, say his name.
Cameron Lamb.
Breonna Taylor, what's her name?
Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Hill, what's her name?
Breonna Hill.
Breonna Hill, what's her name?
Breonna Hill.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We want him to hear it on the top floor. Come on now. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it's gone. One more time.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it's gone. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it's done.
Black lives who gave their lives.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community feels like.
This is what community feels like.
Show me what community feels like.
This is what community feels like.
People united will never be divided.
The people united will never be divided.
The people united will never be divided.
The people united will never be divided.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey,
Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Chief Smith has got to go.
Whole street.
Our streets.
Whole street.
Our streets.
Whole street.
Our streets.
Whole street.
Our
do
streets.
this one. I'm loud enough. So real quick, I didn't read this earlier, but I just kind of wanted to read off the information that we were working on preparing so we knew exactly what it is that we're looking towards, why we need to get rid of Chief Smith. So the probable cause statement of why Rick Smith is not fit to hold the office of Chief of Police. He promotes a culture that does not value black lives. He fails to properly do job by not following KCPD policies and procedures, and he does not hold bad cops accountable. We just experienced some of that. We just experienced officers that came up to show dominance and ripping off a sign that's not hurting anyone.
Right.
Ripping off a sign because they wanted us to protect.
A sign that means everything to us.
Word that the police, she's been robbed and beat, and the police don't believe her. She went to make a statement, and the police told her to her face that she don't not believe her.
So this lady was just robbed here. And she went to the police.
I don't want to demonize her any further by showing her face. But this lady is visibly bruised.
She was robbed and beaten, looks like probably on the east side of the building, and she went to She went to go talk to the police, and they said that they didn't believe her, so she came out crying. And they're kind of taking her to police officers themselves.
Visibly bruised on her back, on her face, and on her back. And only because they were pursuing us and they realized that we became aware of it, are they working on taking her statement of her just being beaten. Do y'all see that?
Now look at all
They immediately showed up to protect the statue. I mean, I watched when they were doing the memorial for the police. When they were doing the memorial, I was looking through, trying to catch, but the one that stuck out, it just stayed in my memory. There was an officer back in the 1920s that was following a suspect, chasing him, and trying to kill himself.
Let's see what's going on here.
Time for justice.
Is that Sheryl speaking? Yeah. Okay, so we didn't get to finish talking because I got like 900 phone calls. You know, when I want to be important, I'm not.
And you guys already have all my information.
So what can I help you
We're doing all the marketing.
No, I just wanted to let you know the reason why we're doing what we're doing. I kind of explained a little bit to him that it's the culture that needs to be changed. Our community feels that the culture is not where they care enough that black and brown lives matter. And we want to make that change. I want to change that. We want to feel the fact. We also want to make a change. Your chief and commander, which is Chief Rick Smith, he's actually not abiding by the policies and procedures. Now, that was the high school going on. Whoever sent you all here from up above, defacing the property, if you look it up, and that's what I asked him. Look it up. Look up the actual definition.
That's where we were at. Okay, well, and defacing, and I explained it to Sheryl, and to, I'm sorry, I'm messed up.
I'm Randy. That's
Randy. What we consider defacing.
I'm looking for my phone so I can show you what you consider in the definition of defacing are two different things.
Okay, well, what is the definition for defacing?
The definition of defacing is spoiling the surface.
Correct.
Okay, wait a minute. With a permanent mark, whether it's written or painted on. And it uses that as a prime example. So there was no spoiling of the surface. Okay. Now he tried to utilize, well, it possibly could be able to take. That's not spoiling the surface.
Okay.
Because
let me. Can I explain?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is what we have. The definition is spoiling the surface. We agree perfectly on that. But what any masonry will tell you is
I'm a brick mason. I do that. That's what I do.
Okay. They will tell you that any sticky stuff, anything like that, can take the sheen, the surface off of it. The masonaries that we have on record have said that. And so that's what I told her. I said, holding it up there, water, like you have right now, the water bottles, water cannot deface. But if you have any other liquid, it could possibly fall over and stain, because we have to look at possibilities too. Because even if it's an accident, unfortunately, it would be on whoever puts it there.
What I do.
If we're trying to get rid of the IQ,
I want the first black female developer. Okay.
Well, congratulations.
And I just redid a whole complete white. Am I lying? Okay. I just redid a whole brick, and I do specialize in brick, in masonry. You're wrong. And you check your masons, and I'm telling you.
Well, then you need to submit that.
I don't have to submit it, but
I'm just telling you that's what they're saying.
Your brick
But I'm explaining to you, okay, and that's where we're going on the differences. Because you have, this is why the culture in the police department needs to be changed. Okay. Because, let me finish.
But you haven't let me finish, so go ahead.
Okay. What I'm saying is, I'm sure I'll hear it. Now, the culture has been tainted. And the reason why the culture has been tainted, because you've just been indoctrinated and not educated. And I just educated you, and you still did not want to look at the education of that situation. So now you're based off indoctrination.
And which is I'm not getting one thing from them. I'm getting it from people that have done monuments, that have done cemetery, whatever.
Tombstones.
Tombstones. Thank you.
Gotcha.
I've been here since 4 o'clock this morning and the brain is not functioning right now. But tombstones and stuff. And that's what they are saying to us. It's not from indoctrination here, because he is in a masonry and they don't know. So that's what I'm saying. You need to submit that because of your experience, your professionalism, your
because they just use regular black electrical tape. That's it. It has nothing. They use regular black electrical tape.
But that is the definition that we have been given. It's by other masonries, not saying you, but other masonries. And so that is what we're using. So if you have something...
They put stuff all over there. They covered it up. Just like that. For protection, right?
Right. But none of the tape is on...
Because tape wasn't going to hold it. But tape will not hold it. That's why.
Tape is holding some of the, or I think, some of the part, or maybe it's
tape is not going to hold
but
it.
none of that. It's just a covering, a cloth covering. And so those things, you know, if it's a cloth covering even, those, we know that doesn't deface it, okay? So that's just where we're trying to, but certainly it, and the calls weren't from above to come and get this off. It was from people that was viewing it, from calls and from some of the building maintenance that was here. They were not sure, and of course they're afraid that their stuff is going to get defaced like that. They don't know who you guys are. They don't know the situation, and they are not officers to come out and approach the subject. So that's why they called us to come out. And yes, the officers got here first, and they were told by the dispatch people to get it taken down. And so once we got here, we got it all straightened out, hopefully, and we're all peaceful now, I hope.
We've been peaceful. We never changed. That's the whole point. There was never a change.
Well,
what we did was we locked. They locked ours because they were scared of the police.
Well, Sheryl just said we agitated, and so that's what I was saying. So now
you have mobs of people coming up with guns.
Well, and that's what I meant by peaceful now. We're all, everybody's calmed back down. We're talking, and we've got it.
Yeah, we was talking before because I told him I was going to spank him.
Do you know Jason?
I know Jason.
Do you know I worked with him up in the jail back in like 1991. We both started together working up there out 8th floor. I've been there a long time, but I'm still only 25.
I'm still me too.
Did you know him when he used to ride horses for me?
Go check out the Sheryl's working hard over here on the mic, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop in here. Looks like the news finally showed up.
We cannot change the culture with having Chief Smith still running the show.
We got a couple.
So in addition to
clips.
her slamming her head into the ground herself, she was kneed in the face and ribs repeatedly while already subdued on the ground. In all cases, even after video footage and evidence emerged contradicting officer reports, the chief declined and fought disciplinary actions for the officers. So we ask again that you tweet or contact the FBI, because there's too many cover-ups under Chief Smith's tenure. The FBI's phone number is 816-512-8200. And you can leave a message if there is no answer. Twitter would be at FBI Kansas City, at FBI Kansas City. But I just think it's funny. I didn't see any of the officers walk up to the gentleman that was in the street just now.
No.
But when Commander Cotterman was speaking to me about we're pulling back, we're having the officers back up, but she specifically pointed to you guys and said that you guys are defying the law by being in the street.
I'll take the street. They can't stop me from taking the street.
Our streets.
Our streets.
Our streets. Our streets.
Yeah, they can't stop us from taking the streets.
If there's no traffic, where's the problem?
That's something else we pay for too.
If there's no traffic, where's the problem?
Especially when they have the streets blocked off.
I'm actually gonna pass this over real quick to somebody I know has some words to say. And we're gonna come back to somebody who doesn't have many words to say, but I got my eye on you.
How's everybody? Hey, I'm a Kill Bay. I'm Cameron Lamb Stiffo. We got issues with when the prosecution requested a probable cause statement. The chief never would do it.
Right.
Not only that, but once he was indicted, the officer indicted, they put a picture on there 20 years ago. You know, he looked like a kid. And said they didn't put the mug shot on there like they do everybody else.
Right.
That's what they need to do. And the chief, this is how they protect each other. They knew, he's saying it was undisputable that my son had a weapon. The other officer that was closest to him said he didn't see no weapon in his hand. So how is that undisputable? You got one officer way over on the other side, say he's seen him reach for a pistol, pull it out of his waist, and he inside of a truck. Now that's crazy. They lied. Right. And then one of the things that Chief Smith said was that it would hurt the morale of the police if he was to release a probable cause statement, let alone the morale of us by losing the son to death. I mean, he had to be out of his mind. I mean, imagine one of them losing one of their loved ones by somebody like me, right?
Right.
I guarantee you I'll be drugged through here, I get my mug shot out from the front page, and I'll be looking ugly as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And you would recognize me.
Right.
So what we trying to do is, get a few things changed. We want this residency policy put in place. If possible, personally I feel that if they use their weapons, they need to be drug tested. You know, how you gonna be scared of me and you got a gun, you got a taser, you got a battalion, you got a radio where you can call any police you want to, you got pepper spray, and you got a bulletproof vest. But you see me, you scared of me.
Scared to death.
How is that?
Right.
What harm am I gonna cause?
Right.
And and they got this clique. Because I got another nephew that was whooped up by the police. They intimidated him. He didn't go down. Testified, and press charges or lodge a complaint, but they terrified him so much, they put him on the ground, they broke his ribs, the boy lost his job behind that. So I'm saying this clique that these officers has, that's right, that's him. But this clique that they have, we got to try to break it up some kind of way. They were talking about this thing about body cams. Now my thing was, before they said they was going to do it, I said get our own body cams. Get our own drones. That's what they do to us. Get our own coalition where we'll contact one person from the east side to the west side, from the north to the west to the south, and call each other when we see the police harassing people. Yeah. And we'll film it from all angles.
We need video.
I know. They say, I know. And that's what we need. And we're going to get videos. Yes. We're going to get videos. I seen an officer today. I didn't report it, but he supposed to be protecting this area, right? Another officer pull up and take him out of it. They go away in a private vehicle. The police car still sitting there like he's still there patrolling, right? Like he's still there monitoring what's going on. And it wasn't. And I said, if I get back here, they ain't here, I guarantee you, I'm gonna make sure I know that the film and turn it in. But anyway, I done said enough. I'm looking for somebody to give it to. You know, I always got a lot to say. Well, listen to this then. If y'all want to hear some more. Well, you know, we're really interested in getting some type of justice here. You know, they can't continue to go on doing these things to us and then intimidating you from talking about it.
Right.
And one thing that the prosecutor officer said, and it makes sense, is that they looking for evidence from any and everybody. You see something, turn it in. Now, I'm not talking about to the police department because it might not never see the light of day. Right. But turn it into the prosecutor office, make note of it. And that's what happened in the officers that was indicted before what happened with Cameron. Somebody filmed them whooping on that person, and they turned that film in. That's what got them officers indicted. They will come and lie. And the thing about my son is that they lied and said that they gonna say he seen him, and they didn't know that he wasn't left-handed. They didn't know that he couldn't use his left hand. You know what I'm saying? But they said he reached down with left hand and pointed the pistol at the police officer. That's crazy. You know. But anyway, I'm gonna get this mic over to somebody because I don't need to hold on to this. Hey, thank y'all.
Thank you.
As everyone knows, the main purpose of us being here is the removal of Chief Smith.
You gotta go.
You gotta go. Chief Smith gotta go.
Chief Smith gotta go.
Chief Smith gotta go.
Chief Smith gotta go.
Chief Smith gotta go.
Chief Smith gotta go.
Accountability.
Accountability. Accountability.
We need accountability.
We need accountability.
Chief Smith gotta go.
Chief Smith gotta go.
I want to tell you an instance of the injustice that happened to my family. My son's alive. Thank you, God. My son's alive. My son did not suffer death. And I'm here to talk about what about all of the cases and the instances that are not caught on camera. All the circumstances and instances that we don't know about. That's where the problem is. In my instance, my son was 3 miles away from my house. No, about 1.5 miles. That's not exactly. They threw him in handcuffs. They threw him on the ground. And they told him he was being arrested for a shooting. He said, a shooting? A shooting? Unbeknownst to him, it was being filmed. So while he's on the ground, he's telling them, you're violating my right. There's a dirty cop trying to cover his ass, and you guys are arrested doing the work of this dirty cop. My son's sitting on the ground. Here comes up the chief, a captain. The cop comes up, pulls up in the car, the captain. They pick my son up and they throw him in the front seat of the car. People are feeling it. Like, they put him in the front seat? So when they put him in the front seat, didn't read him his rights. And the cop takes out with my son in the front seat of the car. I'm thinking, this is being filmed. What are they gonna do? They kidnapped him. They literally kidnapped him. Another officer, another police officer, jumps in my son's car. The police officer recklessly driving over the curb, about to tear my son's car up. This is on film. I'm like, they got him in one car, another cop jumps in his car. Where are they taking him? Oh, they finna kill him, what are they finna do? They took him to my house. They took him to my house. He don't live with me. They got an address, his driver's license, his address, they got everything. But they bring him to my house. They kidnap him, bring him and his car to my house, kick in my house. While my son is on the ground, one of his friends is filming this, and he calls him. He said, Pops, they got Lolo on the ground. They said, they say he's finna kick in your house. They're kicking my house? Why are you kicking my house? Well, he don't live there. So now my son's on the ground. It's all recorded. Hey, man, I told you to come. Hey, you see, he's on his way. The police officers, before they pick him up, and put him in the car and jump in his car and drive his car to my house, they know I'm on my way. They know I'm on my way. And if you got a warrant to go in my house and you know I'm on my way, why don't you wait till I get there? It ends up, they write up that they found him at my house, they found the car at my house, they kick in my house, they take my weapon. They took my weapon. I'm registered. I have a conceal and carry. I can have a weapon. You don't even have to have that in this country to have a gun. They take my weapon and write up on the paperwork that they found him at my house.
That ain't right.
Okay, I go to the OCC, Office of Community Complaint. You know what they told me at the end of the investigation, and I gave them the film and and everything? You know what they told me? I'm a third-party victim, and I ain't got nothing to say. They kicked in my house, took my gun, brought my son out of the streets to my house, kick it, and I'm a third-party victim.
That ain't right.
I got the paperwork where they lied. Paperwork is so key. Paperwork, like the other young man said, you're taking my life when you falsify paperwork and you take time off of my life and put me in jail. You've taken part of my life. You've taken, and if that behavior is allowed to continue, we're going to stay in this same condition. The first step in changing that behavior is at the top. If the top allows that, I said it once before, we got some good cops. But if the bad cops are telling these young cops under them what to do, these young cops have no choice but to do what their uprights tell them to do. And that comes from generations.
We got to break the culture.
It's called Code of Blue.
Break the culture.
Now, I'm going to make everybody mad here now. Because we need to break a code of silence just like they need to break a code of silence. Y'all always ready when a cop kills a brother. But when we killing each other, you're silent. Black Lives Matter. When we killing each other, it matters.
It all matters.
When these cops, we're giving the cops a pass. We're giving them a pass. When we're silent, so they're going to be silent too. What's the difference? Black lives are dying. We dying. What's the difference?
You gotta wake up.
Yeah, it is a difference. But when you dead, you tell me. What's the difference? If I'm killing my brother, and this cop is killing my brother, and I wake up the next day, and my brother dead, I don't care who did. I want to know. You killed my cousin Pookie. You killed my auntie. I want to know. I want justice. Period. And if y'all don't stand for that wholeheartedly, I ain't going to stand with it. I'm standing wholeheartedly for all lives. All lives. Do you get it? The systemic racism that the police department has been doing for years. The names are on the statue. You see the name. That one name, I'm going to give you a date. 1908. How many black people did he kill before he died?
Right.
Tell me. Can't count it. So what we have to do, we have to beat them at their own game. I agree with you guys that stand up and put your bodies and put yourself on the line for what you believe. But sometimes we can stand together and do stuff. Why do we have to wait till it gets bad? Why can't we stick together and start doing this before somebody dies? Before something negative happens? Why can't we get together and do it consistently? It's a mindset that we all have to change. And that mindset doesn't have a color. It's a mindset that we have to change as a people, and that mindset does not have a color. It has a heart, it has feelings, it has emotions, it has pain. But the first step for us to move in the right direction is to start at the top. Chief Smith must go.
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 And we need the good cops. You good cop, you're not a good cop if you don't speak up on the bad cops. You're not a good cop if you don't speak up on the bad cops. I have cops in my family. And I don't want nobody to walk up and blindside and shoot my nephew in the head because he's a cop. It takes black cops to stand up. We need black cops, white cops, Asian cops to stand up. Color is no longer going to be the issue. It's got to be the heart and the mindset of every life. Every life. Let's get control, not just local control, because local control is not going to do any good if the same rotten people are in place.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm going to take a break because, man, once I go, I'll be all day. And I hope that this is not in vain. We have petitions to be signed. There are not enough people like at the last event to pass them out. Hopefully you guys will take 3 or 4 of these pamphlets and these ads and pass them out so that we can get a petition going. Because to hold this and do this and get nothing out of it, we got to get something out of this. To protest and get nothing out of it, I will not say it's wasteful. But I'm used to results.
Yeah.
We need results. So I have some of the other flyers. There are some more flyers, and we'll find out where all the flyers at. And if you can just take 3 or 4 and just give it out to somebody. Because right now, we need this petition signed. We need to get the signatures. We need to get the names. This is not the last time. This is just the beginning. This is peaceful. This is what we need. We need to beat them with the paperwork. We need to beat them in the courts. And the only way we do that is put the people in position so that we can. All right, thank you. Hey, where's my helpers at, my team? Hey, that's a good place to start, but are those the good cops or the bad cops? Are they going to confront their uprisings? That's the question. But you said right, they just talking. How you doing, young lady? His camera's Lance's sister. She'd like to make a comment, please. Let them know how you feel and what you want. Take your mask off so we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Shalise. I'm Cameron's sister. I have 2 kids, my son Dylan and my daughter Mackenzie. And after he was murdered, we just had to deal with so much, especially with the kids. And I think that that's something that people don't really talk about, the effects that it have on the kids. And I have to listen to them when they're hurting and when they're crying to me at nighttime, which is a lot. I have to listen to my nephews crying and asking me, why did this happen? And why do they hate us so much? And it's just hard. And I really, honestly, I don't even know what to tell them when I'm having those type of talks with them. Because this is something that shouldn't be happening, and then they make our children feel a certain way because they're murdering us like we are less than animals. Like, I've seen animals get better treatment than than how they treat us. And it's just an effect on the kids that I don't even try to deal with my emotions because I have 2 kids that I have to make sure that they are okay. I have to make sure that I'm telling them the right things so that they can go in the right way. And I know that my brother, I know that he wouldn't want any of the kids to be affected negatively by this, but it really hurts. And it hurts my kids. Oh, I hate the police. I hate the police. And then what am I supposed to say? Because I'm going through emotions and I don't like the police myself. What am I supposed to say to that? But my daughter, she wants to talk, and I really feel like we haven't really heard anything from any of the kids. So I really want her to be able to talk and tell how she's feeling.
My name is Mackenzie Shepherd. I'm his only niece. And when I heard that, my heart stopped. Like, he was like really, I loved him so much. The last time I saw him was right by our house. So, yeah, but I feel like people who say that slavery is over, it's actually not. It's just a different form.
Exactly.
Some people don't understand that we are people too. Some people feel like we don't have any feelings when we really do. And when we just see, like, it don't even have to be a part of our family. We just feel bad when we hear something about, like, us in general. It's I heard about Emmett Till. I didn't really learn this stuff in school because they obviously didn't want the people to be all out.
Come on now, speak now. Right. Speak.
But sometimes I cry over Emmett Till and my Uncle CD. And it's just sad to see that's how we are treated.
Now this is not my situation here. I just don't see the person that's in charge. That's all. But you know what? We don't hear from the children. You know, we haven't heard from the children. Here we go.
I just want to say something real quick. Cameron was my cousin as well, but I'm not only speaking on behalf of Cameron, but just in terms of everybody being out here. One thing Dr. King said is, what did he say? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And I just want to say it is so important for all of us, all races, all creeds, all genders, to be out here fighting for equality, because it takes all of us. It's gonna take all of us. We are all important in this fight, and we all need each other, and we just have to continue to fight. Don't let it die. Don't let it die. We have to continue to fight until we create tangible results to create a better environment and society for our young people. Our young people, all of our young people, not just black people. Everybody. We have to create an environment and society where all of us can prosper. Thank you.
Say something more? I'll give you a Imagine this. Imagine this. Imagine someone doing something to your loved one, and you have a friend of yours, a person that know you, seen it happen, and you know who the guilty party is, and don't say nothing. The police officers, you know, like when they say you got good old police officers, well, I believe that, but every now and then, I want to know where they at. You know what I'm saying? I want to know where you at when you done seen something that's wrong, and you going to let it affect your livelihood because you keep it quiet or you falsify some of the information that should be submitted. So we just asking those good officers to step up. Because if you was on the job somewhere and you had a person that wasn't doing their job next to you, you're not going to be too receptive to that too long. I'm quite sure, quite naturally, if it's going to affect your lifestyle, your livelihood, you're going to report them. And they tell us they got this things called Crime Stoppers that you can secretly call in and report when you see a crime. That's not just for the citizens, it's for the police too. If it's so secret, call in and tell them rascals. You understand? If you ain't gonna be exposed. right? Tell her who they is. You understand? They ain't gonna find out who you is, you know. But and there's a lot of officers who feel that because they got that blue suit on and that badge in their pocket, that they safe. But some of our officers, you take that blue suit off and that badge and walk in a certain neighborhood, you're gonna be stopped, frisked, and arrested just like me. The only time you get away with it is when you got that suit on and around your other police officers with that suit on. You know, so but you know, we got that. Can't be afraid to walk anywhere, do what we want to do, talk to people, and express our desires without being hampered by the police saying you look suspicious. You know what I'm saying? Throwing you on the ground, wrestling you, breaking your arms and legs. Amen? Yeah, y'all a good crowd out here. But who gotta go? Chief Smith gotta go. He gotta go. He gotta go. Amen.
All right, my name is KCPD. I'm part of BKCF. That's Black Kansas City Family. That's what BKCF stands for. One thing is, if you see a cop pulling somebody over or something like that, grab your phone now and record their ass. Don't be scared to record their ass. Like, hey, do not. Make sure you got somebody with you, because we don't want you going down by yourself. You feel me? Because you know cops gonna try to fuck with you and try to take you down with the person they taking down. So make sure you got some people with you, because BKCF, what we do is when we see police, like for example, we are on the plaza, and if we see a police like pull up, stop somebody or something like that, everybody runs over to that area where the police is, where they stop the person, and we all record, asking questions, and they try to ignore us, but they know that we got them on camera. So make sure if you see a cop on the side of the road pulling somebody over, record. All right? Who streets?
Our streets.
Who streets?
Our streets.
Who streets?
Our streets.
Who city?
Our city.
Who city?
Our city.
Who city?
Our city.
Bad cops equal.
Bad problems.
Bad cops equal.
Bad problems.
Hey, tell them about your march tonight.
Oh yeah.
How'd you forget about that?
I ain't forget it. But so BKCF is having a march tonight. We gonna start off at the plaza, and we gonna walk to Kelly's and hold it down for 30 minutes. Because if you do not know the history of Kelly, that's where they used to trade slaves, sell slaves, and to sell under Kelly. So we blocking off that intersection tonight. If y'all want to come, it'll be great. If y'all can, it'll be okay. Got it?
Got it. Yeah.
Who streets?
Our streets.
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 Hands up.
Don't shoot.
Hands up.
Don't shoot.
Who streets?
Our streets.
I really just kind of want to reiterate off the subject. Casey was saying when he was talking about the other protests that are going on. If we come out, or if we come out here one day and we say Chief Smith must resign, well, we must kick out Chief Smith. We talk about how bad cops are the problem, and then we don't come out again, or we don't talk to people that we know about this, not just once and then drop it, because if you make a post on Facebook, everyone's gonna maybe type their comment and then just leave it alone. We can't drop this issue. Seriously, we have to keep fighting over this. Because, I mean, I'm just gonna talk on my experiences off the plaza, but we had tons of people there on the plaza to protest directly after George Floyd died, and then after the cameras left, the people left. It was like they were there. These issues don't just go away because the cameras went away. So, I mean, first off, obviously, it's fantastic that there's so many of us out here right now. We gotta keep at it, day after day, until there is change. All right, and I'm not a public speaker. That's just all I wanted to make sure I got out there.
I'm not a public speaker either, not much. But so we came out here to support another organization that was doing some peaceful protesting for, to get Chief Rick Smith out of here. So when me and my partner came up, we both started to put our signs all across the stairwell and everything, saying, fire Chief Rick Smith and KCPD, cop killers, all of that. We put killer cops. But and then we put our Black Lives Matter flag around their precious little monument, because we knew that would actually, it would do something to them. They would be upset about that. We usually, we're out here every Friday, and usually a cop cars will be up here, and we'll just put the flag on one of the cars, and we'll dare one of them to just come out there and move it, And so while we're up here peaceful protesting, because it started to rain, and our flag was right there, we could see the cop cars, they were starting to block off the streets. And they started to kind of gradually, one after another. Before you know it, it was probably about 6 or 7 cop cars and a wagon. And this is just to let you know how messed up the system is. So we're over here peaceful protesting. Their main agenda is to come up here and remove this flag off this monument. They wasn't considering what the statement we were making with that flag, with Black Lives Matter. They're more concerned about these fallen officers who, more than half of them probably didn't lynch people that look like me. Me and you. Right there. They're glorifying that. But yet, they want to pick a fight. Their whole fight is over this flag being on this monument. How crazy is that? We're out here making a statement, and all they can think about is we're defacing their precious little monument. And they want to come up here and antagonize us. They wasn't trying to de-escalate, they wasn't trying to talk. They wanted to antagonize us and try to bully us and make us think that we're doing something against the law. No, and we wasn't. All we were doing is peaceful protesting. And they were upset because we put this flag on their precious little memorial. So that just lets you know, when it comes down to it, they don't care about black lives. Because the whole reason why we're out here is because black lives are being killed on the streets by them. But yet, they're over here concerned about this memorial when we have a Black Lives Matter flag wrapped around that memorial where half of these people done killed black lives. So we need to defund the police. We need to tear that whole structure down. The whole structure needs to come down because the whole structure is corrupt. Period. It's corrupt. And there's nothing you can do with these cops coming up here trying to talk to us. Nothing's gonna happen. We're just gonna have a conversation. They're gonna lie. They're gonna BS. All of that, and then they're gonna go home. They're gonna come back to our neighborhoods, and they're gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again.
So, y'all know I've been gone for a minute. I've been in conversations. We were able to make a quorum on some certain things. We're asking them to keep by the law. We've told them we promised to keep by the law as well. But some of the things that you need to know is that where we're talking about firing Chief Smith, it's because of the culture that the chief is promoting of the negative aspects of how they treat especially the black community within Kansas City. Since December 3rd, they have killed 7 black people. The rate that the Kansas City Police Department kills black people is 4.5 times higher than the national average. So we as a city have to also change our culture. We have once again, I was around when Trayvon Martin was killed and we had hundreds of people show up on the plaza to protest. I was part of a group actually that protested after Alton Sterling and Philando Castile was killed. We protested in front of the East Patrol Station for 30 days straight. Some days, the first few days, there was hundreds of people there, but for the long haul, we ended up with just a handful. So if we as Kansas City have the highest rate of homicide by cop, we as a city have to do better as well. The way that we hold them accountable is this building that you're at right now might be shut down due to COVID right now. Normally, the second Tuesday of each month, the commissioners have a meeting where we're fighting so hard to try and get Chief Smith down because there's so many organizations, there's so many groups, we're all screaming the same thing, that it's from the top that it has to change. The way that we're going to get a more effective change is not by being here on a Saturday, and I'm aware of that, but the way we're going to get the effective change is by being there on July 7th. Inside that room right there, 9:30 a.m. Unless they say COVID again, because I was expecting to meet with them this month, but they shut us down due to COVID. If you guys want to follow when the police commissioners meetings are, I can guarantee you I'm creating an event for it, because I'm going to be at every single one of them.
They do them virtually, right? Can they do them virtually?
They're doing them virtually. That only happened in June. In May, they read my comment. In April, they read my comment. In June, you guys overwhelmed the system. They did actually, there's a PDF document you can download if you'd like to see and read them all. Some of them are actually saying we think he's doing a great job. But they don't know the facts. So it's easy to comment something when you don't know the facts. So I'm gonna ask this, and I try not, as I have these conversations, I try not to single out any person's skin color because I don't want it to come off as being racist. But I'm going to ask those of the allies that are not people of color with me now, help us have these conversations. Because if I come and approach someone that's giving me all kinds of well, he had a gun, because that's what I keep hearing when they talk about Cameron. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Cameron. Cameron was shot and killed in his own property where he lived and dwelled himself. He had a gun in his own property. He was not a felon, so guess what he had legally? He legally had a gun. So, where's the NRA? Where's the NRA? Is it, or is it not legal for you to own a gun if you're not a felon? Here's some other laws that you guys might not be aware of. He could legally own his weapon, even if he didn't have a permit to do so, because he's not a felon. Because we are an open carry state. Here's something else that you might not be aware of. How many people know the reason why George Zimmerman got off?
Stand your ground.
Missouri is also stand your ground. So 2 rogue officers ran from the front of the house to the back of the house, and they were not chasing him in the vehicle. The only reason why they knew where Cameron pulled into was because the helicopters that are always patrolling the east side told them where he was. So you have 2 undercover officers. That means they were in clothes just like you and I have on today. They approached the house in the front with the guns already drawn. How was Cameron a threat then? How was Cameron a threat when you approached the house? You didn't even have visual contact of him. Why is your gun already drawn? So the gun was already drawn before they even went around to the back. And the officer that didn't kill him has a conflicting testimony with the one that did.
Talk about it.
And 9 days after Cameron was killed, at my discretion, that was his words, his exact words. At my discretion, the officer has been returned to duty. 9 days. 1, 2, 3. Am I counting too slow? So by December the 12th, a killer was back on your streets at the direction of the chief, because it was at his own discretion. Now, even as I was speaking to the commander down the street, she said, well, you know, we have to go through, the doctor has to release. How many of y'all ever got a fake report from the doctor so you could get out of work? Come on now. I know some of y'all might not have watched Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills movies, but I ain't falling for the banana in the tailpipe. So you trying to tell me that because one doctor said that he's mentally okay? Because I, as a citizen, have a problem with the killer feeling like he's okay to go back to his job with a gun in his hand 9 days after he took a life. 9 days after he took a father from his 3 kids. 9 days before from the time frame that he took an entrepreneur from working on cars and saving stranded people that their own family left stranded. There's a story that I'm always talking about with Cameron. That there was a lady that was stuck on the highway and waited for her family 2 hours to show up and they didn't. Y'all from Kansas City? Is there any place in the city it takes you 2 hours to get to? No. Every place we could get to within 2 hours, right? So Cameron pulls up on these 2 ladies because it was a mother and her daughter. And she said that Cameron told the boys in the car to just sit here and be good. And you know what they did? Who can control a child like that unless it comes from ingrained within them? Can you take, how old were they then? 2, 6, 2, 4, and 6. How well can you take a 2, 4, and 6-year-old, be good, daddy's getting ready to go work on this real quick, and you walk away and they stay that way if you're not from a good upbringing? But yet and still we had the chief that tried to vilify and couldn't find nothing on Cameron. They tried to vilify him and they investigated him before they investigated the officer that killed him. So since when is the dead man somebody that you need to investigate? Shouldn't you be investigating the situation? And if you have 2 officers and the one closest to him, she ain't got no gun on her. What do you say? Because you would be the one that was in position that would have killed Cameron. Would I be able to see more than you do?
Yeah, probably. Definitely.
Yeah. Especially, this is the roof of the hood of a truck. Right. So can you see her waist? From the truck, can you see her waist? No. But he was, Officer Schwammer was over here. He had full view of Cameron. Yeah. Yep. But the murderer, Eric DeValcanier, who they are trying to hold as a hero, who they have created, they haven't done a GoFundMe because, you know, the culture of this country is changing. Yeah. So GoFundMe would have said, thank you. Because it was right there. I wasn't trying to be. So the union, they call it Officer Ed. They're funding Officer Ed. Those are his initials. We've got Brad Lemon that is backing him up, trying to have an argument campaign with I mean, truthfully, Jean Peters Baker undercharged. She undercharged him. You know why she undercharged him at all? She's up for election this year, y'all. They undercharged because she's up for election. And with the culture that we have in this country right now, she had to charge him with something. That's the only reason why she charged the officers that beat Breonna Hill. It's because she has to show a better track record. But what you've been doing for the past 8 years you've been in office, why did this family have to wait from December 3rd till June 18th? Was that the day, June 18th? From December 3rd till June 18th before you had a grand jury indictment, and you're saying that, that's because the chief didn't provide a probable cause statement. So you have a chief that is purposefully defying the judicial process. We have to change the culture. And we cannot change the culture as long as we have Chief Smith still sitting there. Too often I have seen him give his directions of what he wants done with his department. And the Board of Police Commissioners has no idea what their duties are. So why do we want to change for local control? Because if you keep questioning what your job responsibility is, then maybe the governor needs to stop appointing you. So we need to change and make sure that you guys are voting, because if you guys live in Missouri and you live in Jackson County and you don't vote in November to get rid of, and you don't vote for the mayors putting on the election to get the local control issue on the ballot to push that forward, then your protest is in vain. I mean, truth be told, how many of you guys were worried about having charges for the protest that was on the plaza a few weeks ago? And how many of y'all showed up when they had the thing on the 26th floor in this building right here? I'm mad at y'all. I couldn't be here because I had to work. And I might get in trouble right now and confess it. I was actually watching a live video while I was at work. I was watching Channel 2. And as soon as they got done with it, they were going to send it to the full council about dropping the charges. Everybody left the room. You know what the next item on the agenda was that they had to discuss? The implementation of the body cameras. We have to be involved in the process. So we're here today, and I thank y'all for being here today, but we have to start getting engaged in every step that matters. So all you have to do is pull up kcpd.org, go to About Us, find About the Commissioners, and look for the calendar. Or you can just go to It's Time, the number 4 Justice on Facebook, because I'll let y'all know when the meeting's there. I will start sharing for the city council meetings, because the funding comes from here to control what happens here. So if you guys are here and present when they're talking about and asking, does anyone have anything to say about what happens with the money that they give over here, then they can give that money with the stipulation of how it gets enacted. We as a citizen have to do more, but we also have to change the culture of a murderous chief that is murdering his citizens.
He's got blood on his hands.
And when they finally, in the midst of COVID, want to give out food, you know where they did it? I'm done talking. Yeah. Oh no, they're doing that today. But before today, they've done food drives before. It was always north of the river.
That's where they live. Right?
Say it again?
That's where they live.
So they gave food to themselves, right?
Yep. They gave food to themselves.
They didn't care anything about, if you want to heal the community, what a better opportunity to heal the community in the midst of a financial and a food crisis. What more would it have benefited for you to go take food to the food desert that's been being a food desert? Everybody wanted to come down on Wild Woodies for upcharging their toilet paper. I already knew that he had to do that, because they're not going to sell it at a loss. So he can't buy in bulk. So you have a food desert. But when the police want to give food away, they go north of the river. They have to change the culture. And we don't have a culture of caring right now. We have a culture of only protecting the thin blue line right now. And until we get rid of Chief Richard Smith, nothing's going to change. Who's next?
My name is Anton Washington. I'm a creative, innovative entrepreneur. I've been going through this protest since the day it started. And one of the things that we do have here, we have the moment of change. This right here, we have the moment of change. We have the moment to change the way the mentalities of our law enforcement agencies think, how they feel about black people. And in that moment, we have to raise that bar. We have to rise above everything that's in our community, that is happening, is occurring in our communities, step out in the streets and say enough is enough, including the deaths that are happening on our own hands. Whether you're black, white, whether you're Puerto Rican, Asian, doesn't matter. Our lives do matter, but right now, in this essence, in this moment, black lives do matter. I know how the importance of how everyone wants to be an ally. And please stand behind us when I say that. Please stand behind us when I say, please be an ally to our culture, because we have the most deepest roots in this ground, in this land that we stand on today. These statues that are erected, that have been erected everywhere, doesn't matter. They need to be torn down, and something may be in place of them that shows the significance of Kansas City and black people and individuals that have stood beside us from day to day, hour by hour, month to month, year to year, for centuries. For centuries. I am sick and tired of seeing my own people die under the hands of police brutality. I am hurting for my people that every day they get on the phone, every day they be on the news, every day they have to explain to their children, every day they have to go to church or go to Zoom to have a church meeting just to feel some type of comfort, because there's no justice in our system. When segregation had died back in 1964, guess what? Racism should have died with it. It should have died with it, period. With a period. I'm serious. Because at the end of the day, we have to be able to come together as a collective, come together as a form of force. The only way that change is going to come if we push it upon them. And that saying, we have to have Rick Smith resignation on the doorstep of each and individual black family that has been killed in Kansas City by their police department. Here you go, Rick Smith resignation because of this. Breonna Hill was killed. Cameron Lamb. Guess what? I appreciate you. Goodbye. Now it's time to vote somebody else in. We talk about voting. But the thing about voting, if you vote, make sure the vote counts for someone that is bringing change with them. Because at the end of the day, we can vote anybody into office. It can do the same thing that Rick Smith has done. I am sick and tired of putting people in office that I work 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 6 to 2, 3 to 11, and we pay their checks.
When it really matters, it matters.
And we ain't got to say what happens in our community? Bullshit, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I just want to hijack real quick because I feel like we've been here too long. This is Yo Sanders, Donnie's sister. And she just respectfully wanted to come up to me and kind of, thank me for, first of all, inviting out, but I want a chance for the story to be heard. And I apologize, I've been so engulfed in Cameron that I'm guilty that we've got more victims. So on March 13th, well actually let me backtrack. On March 12th, Donnie Sanders had hernia surgery. That's right in here. That's cut right in here. Has anybody ever had surgery?
Yes.
Has anyone had a child?
Yes. 2 C-sections.
So the day after you get cut right here, are you going to aggressively do anything to an officer?
No.
Are you going to pose a threat when you just got cut right here?
No.
On March 12th, on March 13th? Are you going to come at an officer with force that requires him to discharge his weapon and shoot you in the back?
Trying to survive.
See, I knew that Donnie got shot with his hands in the air. But like I just spoke about earlier with Ryan Stokes, the autopsy will always tell the truth. So if we have a culture of officers lying on their police reports, and it continues to happen, who's to blame? Would it be the chief? So do we have to get rid of the chief to change the culture?
Yes.
So Donnie was shot in the back. The day after he had hernia surgery. I'm just thinking about it. I'm hurting right here. And now I've got a gunshot. And he actually, if I remember correctly from talking to your sister, he was supposed to have another surgery because they hadn't completed it, right? Shot here. So the bullet from the back came out of his stomach where he had just had surgery already. He got shot in the arm. So if the first initial bullet that was going to take him down, it was the one in the back. So as I just got done talking to the officer on the corner, she said that they're having a hard time getting people to apply. They're having a hard time getting people to apply. I wonder if it would be better if they had a different chief. I wonder if chief, because as I was actually speaking to Captain Roberts, I posed to him as far as the annual 24-hour training that they have for the officers, and that 24 hours encompasses all of their duties. So therefore, I don't think it's enough to de-escalation. We just had to train them today on de-escalation, didn't we? Didn't we have to train the officers today how to de-escalate a situation? But whose job is it? So if you're only giving them 24 hours a year, I don't think that's enough time to learn how to de-escalate training. Had they used any de-escalation tactics, they would have known that Donnie had just had surgery. This family's still waiting. Donnie was killed in March. Has Gene Hartley even contacted y'all?
They was basically telling us that the grand jury would be in on the case. That's it, pretty much. We ain't heard anything else from nobody.
And you know, here's the funny thing.
Did you get a name of the officer? No name? No name.
So here's the thing.
Why did I do that?
I'm going to tell y'all. So because they already kind of have this set conveyor belt assembly line of justice in the city, what happens is the chief says, and he actually gave a blanket statement before he was forced to after the protest, I'm not going to give you a probable cause statement. So when he doesn't give a probable cause statement, that actually means that if you have a prosecuting attorney that has guts, she'll sue the department. But we have one that doesn't have guts.
Right.
So she just says, I can't do my job now because they wouldn't give me the probable cause statement. So then they have to go to grand jury without a probable cause statement. If the grand jury decides, and that's just 6 people, if the grand jury decides that there's nothing that they see to further do charges,
How is a grand jury 6 people?
I don't know.
It's just like regular jury duty.
Is it? It's regular jury duty? Uh-huh. So this is why you guys need to register to vote. And I know you're only going to get paid $6 or $12 or something small dollars a day. But when you try and get out of jury duty, remember this face. When you try and get out of jury duty, remember this family. Because this is who you're hurting when you try and get out of jury duty.
That's right.
Yeah.
So just as much as this is about the chief, it's also about us as a community. You want to know, I'm getting all the times, as well as the rest of the team is getting all the time. What can I do to help? What can I do to help? I need for you to talk to your friends and have them talk to their friends. I need for you to show up for jury duty when they call you and not try and just get off. I need for you to show up and start voting and telling your neighbors to start voting too. I need for you to keep doing what you're doing.
I know here.
I need for you to tell your community that just the same as we know Black Lives Matter, we have to fight for all of our lives to matter. Black, white, brown, gay, straight, doesn't matter. We all have rights. We all have rights. The problem that we had when the police showed up here today, the problem that I had, I don't know about the problem about y'all, but the problem that I had is when they snatched it off. As I ran right up there, I said, what law have we broken? Be prepared to ask them those questions when they pull you over, when they stop you from walking. They count on the fact that you don't know what rights you have. That's why when the rain started and we went up top, I made sure I let y'all know before they come up and say, you can't be here. No, this is public property. We have a right to be here. That's why they back down. That's why they're not going to continue to pursue anything different. We'll comply with your request. You comply with ours. Fire Chief Smith.
I feel like everybody should know Donnie didn't even have no weapon, no gun, no phone, no comb, no nothing. His hand.
He had melanin, I'm sorry. I know that hurts to hear, but he had melanin. And for some reason, we have too many officers that are scared of melanin. It's only my skin color. It doesn't change my heart. It doesn't make me more violent. We as black people are very demonstrative, but truthfully, we're a loving people. If we can get past the hurt that we've had, if we can get past the hurt that we've had within our own communities and we can start healing each other, you want to know how to fix the black on black homicide? And I hate calling it that because white people kill white people, Chinese people kill Chinese people, Mexicans kill Mexicans, Hispanics kill Hispanics, and I say it like that because they're not the same. You kill where you live. But when you have an area that constantly has persecution by officers that want to come up and snatch stuff off the ground, and you can't do this, and I don't have to let you see my name, and everything else that they did, we have to love and support each other through this process to make it better. I don't want to get too far off track, but when you start getting your grand jury, remember her. We're thankful that the grand jury at least sought to get charges, but we're going to continue to fight that they need to be increased. So I know earlier I gave you guys change.org/fire KCPD Chief. I'm sorry. I got to look. My mind's slow.
Rick Smith.
Change.org/fire KCPD Chief Rick Smith. Change.org, and I'll share this on the It's Time for Justice group page. But additionally, there's another petition to increase the charges from involuntary manslaughter. Involuntary manslaughter you more frequently hear when there's a vehicular incident because somebody was intoxicated. We know that's an accident. We know that he has trained his officers to shoot to kill. That was no accident. We need those charges increased.
I'm sorry. I got a question. I just got a question on involuntary manslaughter. I personally want it to be changed to something else. Because if I come over your house, knock down your grill, tear down your fence, anything over $500 to $700 is a felony. Did y'all not know that? If you breaking and entering into somebody's house, that's a felony, right? If I go into your house and kill you, that's a felony murder, right? Okay? Because I looked up another law, and I'm gonna tell you, it's another case that's standing right here today that the guy got charged. He went into the store, left his car running, came back out the store. Somebody was in his car and took off, and the lady tried to hit him as he took off, so he shot her. He's serving 10 years for felony murder. Protecting in the council doctrine, it states that you can protect your property. Start Googling this stuff. Stop letting people dictate to you, and I call it indoctrination. That's just like when they came up here and said y'all was defacing the statue. You can't show me that this is defacing. They were coming to try to do something. Look it up. Because any officer officer that touches anybody up here, we're going to have a problem today. We're going to have a problem today. Because I asked you to look up defacement. And what does that mean? And what city code is that violating? Or what municipal code or law that we've broken? Nobody can say what? Nothing. All the way up to the commander. So my next question was, if nobody's breaking laws or anything like that, because we know Rick Chief, he breaks them all the time. He continues to break them. And that's what we're not going for. How can I be a leader and I continue to break my own policies and procedures? You cannot do that. If I had a job and I had 2, 3, like one of them said, well, we're in the police department. Right. It does. Sometimes it only takes one. But what an officer said to me, I like utilizing that. He told me, he said, well, Miss Walker, we deal with thousands of people, and they just don't like us, and sometimes they just turn around and basically just say something about, complain about us for no reason. I said, well, guess what? I've been in collection for I don't know how long, 15, 20 years. I can't stand a bill and collect and call my own self. So if I call you, you know how many complaints I've had? So you can look through what's viable and what's not viable. If you have a continual complaint, out of 3 of the complaints that I get, after that I'm gone. I lost my job. So that means I have to deal with my clientele in a particular manner. Just like they need to deal with their community in a respectful manner. I learned how to de-escalate them because I knew Officer White, and I could sit up there and joke with him and tell him, hey, I'm gonna spank you. That was a way of de-escalation. Well, along with the de-escalation process, that they've never really been taught. We taught them today. We taught them today. Yeah, we did. But these officers that's out here killing our community have not been taught. They've been indoctrinated. And indoctrination is we continue to go on and go on and go on as we believe, not educated. That's what people don't know the difference of. They don't know that difference. So I'm asking right now for everybody to make sure you take a vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure everybody here is registered to vote. I'm gonna ask a question. How many people who are registered to vote? Hey, I'm asking a question across the street over there. How many people over there are registered to vote? All right. Now, anybody that ain't registered to vote, I'm going to ask you to take your time to get 20 people registered to vote. We got to get Jean Peters Baker out of there, too. We got to get her out. Now, we're going for Tracy. Tracy Chapman is, that's who we're going for. Now, if you was in our last big old protest, I told her she couldn't use our platform to speak or try to do votes. I asked her why was she here. You know what she said? I got 4 boys, and I don't want them to encounter the police like some of these other people. Now, that's why I'm gonna vote for her, because she know what it's like. Stacey Shaw, you know what we've been through, right? And you're an attorney, you got maced.
And arrested.
And arrested. Nobody's above the law. That's what these police officers think. They got that God-like mentality. You got that God-like mentality. But guess what? I got melanin in my skin and I am like God. I'm yelling you loud, like you know I
make a change. We want justice. So, let's not forget our chant. Let's start talking about, I need somebody to my voice, I'm going to lose my voice. But
Before Anton starts speaking though, if you guys are a member of the It's Time, the number 4 Justice group, I actually just shared the 2 petitions that we're asking for you to sign. So please sign both of them. One of them is about firing Chief Smith. The other one is about increasing the charges for the officer that killed Cameron Lamb.
Hello. I just want to give myself a couple more minutes. I'm going to say what we were talking, what she was talking about. I 100% agree with everything she said about the blood on our skin. You know, and we are people, you know what I'm saying, that have come from the generations of who God is. Okay, and we are covered in God's blood. Period. Okay, and we are being protected by His grace. So at the end of the day, when we speak about who we are as a collective, as a culture, we need to be able to go out in our communities and spread that to our children. Okay, it doesn't matter if you gave birth to them. It doesn't matter if you don't know them. You take them to the side and you educate their minds, and their mindsets will change to become better individuals, to become entrepreneurs in our Kansas metropolitan area. That we are black, and we are not owned by the white man no more. Okay? But at the end of the day, the kids have to know what's going on in our schools, because they took out education out of the schools. But the same thing I was being taught in schools is not being taught today. And that has to be implemented into our schools, into our educational system. So at the end of the day, by we having black officers on the law enforcement agencies around the metropolitan area, guess what? If they know what's going on, how come they ain't spreading the word? They need to stand up for themselves and tell the truth. They need to stand up for themselves and say, enough is enough. No more in our community. I'm not covering for you. All these things that's happening in our city today, we can help change that. Rick Smith has to go, period. Okay, he has to go. I've heard it, and I heard it, I've heard it, and I'm tired, and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I know all of you are too. So at the end of the day, we have to make that move somehow, some way, and we're gonna make that today by removing these statues from Kansas to Missouri, letting them know you don't own no property here. That statue over there is who?
Who cares?
And it's named after him. Guess what? A few friends of mine are trying to put together a petition to help change the county, the name of the county. He used to be a slave owner. Why would I want him to? Why would I want to walk past him? I'm going to the courthouse to do any kind of business. Why would I want to do that? Because I know my culture, I know my history, the deep rootedness of this soil that I stand on, the blood that is driven into the very, very soil that my ancestors have helped build this country. At the end of the day, we have to bring our heads together and our minds together and say, Rick Smith has to go, Gene Peters Baker has to go, see you, holler at you, we'll get somebody else in the office that's going to do a better job than you and help our community, understand our community, understand our culture. But I'm going to tell you one thing before I have to go. We have to stand alongside each other and build each other up. We can't tear each other down no more. The whole globe stands with us. The whole globe, from Finland to Australia to Canada to Germany to China, Cambodia, also Switzerland. The Vatican, they have been marching on the Vatican. Come on now. If people don't see that across the world, then guess what? They blind. Take off your blinders. These are the days of our black lives. I wear this shirt for a reason. These are the days of our black lives, because our lives matter in this moment, and it's gonna matter forever, and so on, and for eternity. We ain't going nowhere.
I just want another chance to show love. So you guys have already shown love to Cameron's sister. His other sister actually arrived, didn't want to speak, but they both have already gone. But I'd like for you guys to actually give as many group and blow as many kisses as you can. I would like for you guys to cordially meet Sincere Lamb.
Hey, hey, hey!
This is the middle of 3 children. We fortunately have an uncle that's stepping up and still being that father figure for him. But this is the middle of 3. You know, in the day and age that we hear too many times, and there's too many stereotypes, and there's so much information that goes out about how black men aren't involved in their children's lives, circumstances that actually happened to where the mother wasn't able to take as full and as good of care, not that she couldn't, but just wasn't able to. So Sincere was being raised by Cameron. So we're going to continue to love on you, Sincere, okay? And we're going to continue to make sure we fight for you to make sure you have a great future, okay? You want to say anything? No? Okay.
Thank you, Sincere.
That's Sincere Lamb, y'all.
All right.
Black lives matter. 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 Black lives matter.
May like end up getting charged, and that's evidence against him.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely do that. Definitely.
I want to say this.
Gotta have her right.
I'm asking her to step up. Because although we're here, not just for Cameron Lamb, we're not here just for Donnie Sanders. We're here for Breonna Hill.
Breonna Hill.
We're here for Breonna Hill, okay? All right, so in Black Lives Matter, that covers everybody. Trans lives, it covers everybody. To be honest, y'all about to get another education. All my white allies, I'm about to really educate you guys. Guess what? Like I said, stop believing in indoctrination. Guess what? There's one race. It's called the human race. I'm going to keep saying this. It's one race. It's called the human race. Although we may have melon, guess what? Y'all came from us. So y'all got melon too. Just as y'all were moved farther away from the equator. So y'all are part of us. See, they fail to realize, and they don't want that out there. I wear this because I educate myself. This is a cross of life, not that cross of death. We are about life. And with that being said, when I say melon, y'all got some melon in y'all too. Some of y'all are more olive colored, some of y'all are not. I'm a little bit lighter than her. I'm a little bit lighter than you. It ain't about color, it's about race, the human race. And one thing that we have done is that we have came collectively together that nobody kept saying. I kept saying it's a spiritual warfare. With that spiritual warfare, it touched. If you look up frequency, frequency is the universal. And it's universal with the bees, the birds, and everything. I know some people might not understand this, but it also is 432. That's our frequency level. Our music that we play on now has changed. It's at 440, which is chaotic. 5G is chaotic. It's over the frequency, the megahertz. That's why it's chaotic. Bees and birds and all that. So they changed us. They're changing everything from the chaotic. But right now, the world is working on 432 universal frequency. That's why you see everybody on that same page about protecting the human race. And I want people to understand that. And when y'all go home, y'all gonna start looking up. I promise you, you're gonna one day start looking up 432 and what it believes in our spiritual realm.
But when you have people that don't have a spiritual connection, they cannot think right. And that's what we have within our police department. They have an evil demonic spirit. And right now, that's why we're up against a spiritual warfare. There are principalities, you know, they said in the Bible that, and I'm not a pastor, but it's something about we're going to be up against principalities and evil. Can somebody correct me on that? But something of that sort. High places. There we go. And that's what we're up against. And the chief is high. But we ain't going to leave it at the chief. We got to get Brad Lemon out of there too. And they both, and if you listen to what Tommy said, how you doing, sir? That's one of the key factors. Now I'm gonna let everybody else speak. I just wanted to give you a little bit of education, because education and indoctrination are two different things. And I'm gonna keep saying that. And I just learned that myself, so I'll repeat it. I'm gonna pick somebody out the crowd.
Why are you here? Yeah, why are you here? Why are you here?
Yeah, because I like you here. You've been here with us from all day. You've been watching. I like that. I need you, brother. I need you, brother.
All right. It's been tough to sum it into a short set of words. Other than I've been here to stand solidarity, and here to stand to make a change. I've seen, as I've grown up and learned my history, that it's a very false history. It's I've seen, you know, it's we're here to save our fellow humans. Like, I don't like, it's a human issue. I don't get how there's any sort of controversy over whether you stand with this or not, because it's, I mean, someone said a few minutes ago, you have to take off those blinders, because anyone who says otherwise, it's just, we're all here just fighting for equality.
That's right.
And anyone who doesn't see that black people and people of color have been targeted in this country in particular for many years. Oh, sorry, my voice is not great. Have been targeted in this country for a long, long time. And if that can't upset you, then there's something wrong. And so it's time we just start. It was time it was time a long time ago. And it's time now that we start standing up and standing up for what's right. We change the laws on the local level, the state level, and change on the national level to stand up for everyone, because it's been this whole system has been built on racist ideas, and that's fucking ridiculous. We need to establish a new system, tear this down, and base it on equality.
Yes, yes.
So I'm here to help make changes. I'm here to keep standing in solidarity and amplifying other, black voices and other people of color's voices that haven't had a voice for hundreds of years and longer. I don't know what else more to say. I can keep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Let's give them a hand, y'all.
We'll power down for a second here, guys. Refresh the time clock here.
No, we don't.
We go.
Let them, Cheryl. Go ahead.
Are we go?
No, and then we're gonna start chatting. I just want to
Get some chance for it. Yeah, I just came back to get my little last.